What's up, everybody? We got a very special guest here today. You may have seen her on X when, Elon Musk is out here retweeting her. And I'm very excited about tonight's guest. It's a powerful episode for you. Our special guest is Avery Ellie. Did I say that correctly?
Avery L is my name, but it's Day. Last name's Day. Surname.
Okay, great. She's another American that's been abroad and to Europe and has seen firsthand, I would say, what mainstream woke media refuses to let you see. While they gaslight the Western public, Europe's daughters are paying the price, right? And London is worse than they say it is. The migrants are flooding in. Crime is skyrocketing, and they're silencing the vast majority, and the powerful elite are not saying a word. So we're breaking it down tonight, unfiltered, starting right now. Welcome, Avery.
Thank you. What an introduction.
Yeah. What are you in America now? Are you in your
I left England. So when Trump got elected, I left the UK and I came back to the States, and I am so glad that I did. I spent the last 3 years living in England, and it's why I started posting. I only started posting since I've been back in America, because I felt like if I didn't come back here and use my voice when all my friends in the UK couldn't, and when I saw free speech is not free, it's not common in the UK, I felt like I had to start speaking, because no one understood how bad it was. Every time I told my friends what was going on in the UK, they were like, there's no way you're being dramatic. I was like, I'm really not being dramatic. It's worse than what I'm telling you. And so I've been chipping away at this for a few months now, and I'm very glad to see it picking up in the media.
All right. So guys, I'm excited. This is the clip that Elon Musk did a retweet today. I mean, it was a coincidence going into our stream to get that. That was I'm glad I got you before you got famous there, Avery.
He's reposted like 4 times now, I think.
All right, here we go. Let's take a look at this clip. It's a powerful clip, and you'll see why the world's richest man just,
I spent the last 3 years living in England as an American, and everyone always asks me if it's as bad as they say, to which my answer is always, it is worse. You have no idea how this affects your day-to-day life, how unsafe I felt living in London. And I lived in West London in Zone 1, which is like about as nice as it gets. And I had my phone stolen multiple times right out of my hand, because what they do is they wear masks and then they'll take their little e-bikes and they'll come and grab your phone out of your hand. And they do it all the time. It's like known. They'll stalk you. They'll follow you. They'd use intimidation tactics. You're constantly looking over your shoulder. I wouldn't dream of walking home alone at night. I'd always take a cab. You have to constantly live in fear and with the expectation that something bad is going to happen. And it's always at the hands of migrants. And so much of it goes unreported and undocumented that it's like, it is so much worse than people understand. And it affects your life in ways that you don't understand. I really hope that the US learns from this and sees this, because the only way that these people got in are through leftist ideologies, open borders, virtue signaling, DEI initiatives. Keir Starmer himself recently said that the greatest threat to the UK is Islamophobia, not Islam. I mean, he's literally paying for them to come in and rape women and children, to commit crimes at higher rates. It's sickening. It's disgusting. It's a government against its own people. It's created two-tier justice, and this is all through leftist ideologies. And we are so lucky in America that we have an ocean separating us from Europe right now. But if we don't learn from their failures and their fall, which is what's going to happen, their fall, we deserve what's coming for us. And what's coming for us is ugly.
Yeah, so I'd love to talk about this here. So what what led you to even make that video? Like in general, like what was there one thing that just had you say, I'm going to make this video?
Yeah. The fact that no one in the West no one in America understands that the West is under attack as a whole. A lot of people, I think the trend in America right now is kind of being an isolationist. And in my personal opinion, I find that to be very dangerous. So I just think so many people, like I get asked almost every single day what it's like in Europe and it's like wars in Europe. So I know firsthand, and I just wanted people to understand. What I will add that I did not add is jewelry is a really big part of it. I could not wear my necklaces. I would never dream of walking outside with my necklaces, my earrings on, because you would walk outside with the expectation that you're going to get jumped. And if you do wear nice things or carry a nice bag, you have to plan ahead. Like you have a car that's waiting downstairs for you or outside for you. You get into the car, you go to where you're going, you immediately walk in. I mean, you literally have to plan it out. And so I don't think people understand how much it affects your day-to-day life. And I just wish more people knew.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's, like I got a home in Germany in 2025 during the lockdowns because I was in a situation where, would I be with my girlfriend or not? It's now my wife, mother, and my child. And so I left the United States to go there. Her dad was freaking out, and Germany was a pretty, culture shock for me, especially as a Jewish guy. It's there wasn't that many there's not that many Jewish people there, but the German people go out of their way to protect the Jewish people there. They do an outstanding job, actually.
Really?
The problem that, yeah, the Germans are amazing at giving protection to the Jews. However, there's a big problem, and for the Jewish community in Germany, and that's the migrants. A lot of them come from like Syria, maybe Afghanistan, the Middle East. And it's largely the same group of people that are raping the German girls, right? So you got open borders and you got the Germans getting raped. Now, the same migrant will tell the German with a straight face that it's the Jews' fault, the Zionist fault.
Yep.
And then 1 hour later, when he's in a room with only other, Arabs or Afghans, he tells them, oh no, it's, we're going to conquer these submissive, docile, weak, soft, feminine German men into complete compliance, submission, and we're here to conquer, basically, right? Yeah. Like we're just gonna pop out babies, maybe. I don't know what they're saying, It's like that one video where a Turkish guy or whatever he was saying, the Pakistani guy told the British guy, "Hey, we're just going to make more babies. We're going to outnumber you in your own land." I mean, this is the sort of arrogance that these people have when they come to Europe. The sense of entitlement of I'm going to take your housing, I'm going to take your benefits, I'm going to take your school. And then once I'm inside your country and I have your citizenship, it is impossible for you to deport me. Then I can go mask off. Then I can go mask off. And not only then can I go mask off, I'm going to have your woke pagan leftists in England, in Germany. Israel has the same problem. Or America, Canada has the same problem. Australia has the same problem. I would say Brazil has the same problem. India has the same problem. The woke pagan mindset is borderless.
So much to say. Sharia law needs to be outlawed. So, like it has to be outlawed in the West in order to save Europe. So it's interesting. I think I'm not Jewish. I'm actually not very religious. I can just look at this objectively and see good versus evil. I just got back from Israel a few weeks ago, and at least in Israel, they understand the common enemy. Like there's good versus evil. They understand what we're up against as a whole. The West has no idea. One of my good friends in Israel told me, and I made a video about this, told me, if you want to understand the Middle East, you have to understand that you're never going to be able to understand. There's no way for your Western mind to comprehend what these people believe in, what their ideology is, because they were taught something at birth that's very different. You guys got to have a childhood in the West. You guys got to have freedom and privilege and free speech, and you got to be kids. These people in Pakistan, that grew up in Palestine, Gaza, they're taught, their ideologies they are taught from a young age, from birth, to kill the West. Like that's what they're taught. So we cannot comprehend that. we cannot actually understand that as a society. So when they're coming in and they're raping our women and children at disproportionately high rates, and they're harming us, and they're telling us that they have a plan to take over our countries, we need to believe them. And we're not doing that. And we don't have governments that are protecting us. And we're being gaslit by the left into saying, into calling objective truths racism. It's beyond me. If people don't start waking up and start talking about this and start looking at Muslim majority countries and saying, there is a superiority to civilization, and that is just the harsh reality of it. And Muslim majority countries, Sharia law countries, are not that, we're doomed.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, one of the hardest things I think to accept is that not everyone thinks like you. In the West, kids grow up with freedom, school, and the idea that you can just choose your own path. But in some places, these children are raised on a completely, unique ideology and foundation. And that teaches them that the West is infidels and is there to get conquered. And the women are there basically to get raped, and that's something you can reason away with our values in the West of democracy, tolerance, and debate. But when these groups openly say they want to harm societies, from the river to the sea, when they tell you that they want to have more children than you in England and they're going to conquer you, when they're, in the United States, when they just had this Palestinian conference and they're telling you to commit espionage and to interrupt the supply chain of the United States military, I believe these people. I don't.
This isn't an attack. I don't know what is. If this isn't war, like, I don't know what is. They're calling for our destruction, our demise. They're saying they need to start getting violent. They have been violent towards us. At what point are people going to wake up and say, I'm a woman and I don't want my entire face to be covered and have zero rights? It's suicidal empathy. It's a lack of education and a lack of understanding of what this culture is.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like when you just see how these people come in, like, for example, we got to take a look at this. Like, this guy is just, these people, they don't care. Like, it's like they're not there. This person gets arrested in England for putting a British flag. And then this person is just, hunky dory, taking and defacing European property. You ever notice at these protests, you're never seeing, you see all these Palestinian flags, but you're not seeing like a British flag. You're not seeing an Australian flag. You're not seeing a Canadian flag. You're not seeing an American flag. In every country, it's the same pattern. And it's violent. The street protests are violent. You will never see a violent pro-Israel protest. It's undefeated. It's extremely rare that you will see a violent, disobedient, law-breaking pro-Israel protest. You see a pro-Israel protest in England, they're also having the English flag or an American flag or an Australian flag or a Canadian flag. They actually respect the law. But for the pro-Palestinian movement that's backed by Qatar and the Chinese Communist Party, they're agitating. Their goal is to agitate to create insurmountable pressure to move foreign policy in the West, to extract Israel and all American power, influence, and military outside of the Middle East so they can conquer it in its complete. It is a very clear goal. It is a very clear foreign policy agenda to remove the United States and Israel completely out. And the crazy thing is we actually have Americans, Europeans, even Israelis, that almost seem to favor this. And it's
not
you know,
almost.
it's like,
They're chanting it. They're waving their flags, having no idea and no understanding of what the flag means.
yeah, and what I say to the English, the German, the Canadian, the British, the Israelis, they're not going to ask your voting record when those mobs come out, when that green-red alliance comes out in the street. They're not going to ask you, you're an infidel, you're not a commie, you're a Jew. It doesn't matter. Like,
So
you're not
ironic.
one
The
of them.
left is the party that's like so anti-religion and so anti just like they're these free spirits, and they're literally calling for a religion that doesn't tolerate a different way of life, a different way of thought, any religion, any other religion. It's it's this is like a controversial term, but it is the definition of useful idiots. These people are useful idiots. They are being put to use because they're so idiotic.
Well, so here so now I'm going to go into the footage. We got some fantastic footage here for everyone to look at. This girl
Crazy.
this is the People's Conference for Palestine. Now, just so everyone understands the significance of this, this was funded in large part by a Chinese agent, a literal Chinese agent, Naval Singham. And I'm going to put him on the stream a little bit later. But just understand it. This is a conference on United States American soil. And just listen to what this lovely girl who got a Western education is saying after she gets, let's say, educated in the United States. So it's a nice, friendly discussion for what she's saying. Let's get right into it.
Of the F-35 program actually comes from the supply chain. 70% of this $2 trillion that goes into the supply chain is literally because they need to transport the different components of the F-35 to different locations to assemble them. And what's really important for us to know is that the F-35 supply chain functions off of this just-in-time logistics process. It's called this, it's an inventory management system, and it's called just-in-time, which means that it delivers the goods right before they're needed. And it's also noted that for an F-35, for every 1 hour of flight, it actually needs 3 hours of maintenance. So what I'm saying to y'all is that if one specific node of the F-35 supply chain is intervened in, it has a huge impact on our people back home. And so we've really developed a methodology, and then I hope that we can get into this and we can talk about it a bit more through this panel. But what's important for us to know here is that the more that we know, the more that we can do. Knowledge is really power here. And we need to be surgical, we need to be strategic, and we need to be bold in our actions. Because there are many different points of these supply chains of death that we can intervene in, and we must intervene in.
What do you think about that? That was a ton.
Okay, first and foremost, if you are doing something that is funded by the CCP, you are doing the wrong thing. I think that's a pretty good rule of thumb. I don't know.
Yeah.
Second, this is what I mean when I say like she grew up enjoying the freedoms of the West. She grew up with her Western education, with the freedom to wear a hijab or not wear a hijab, speak on this or not speak on this. She is somebody who, again, rule number one of understanding the Middle East and the people that she's supporting, you can never understand them. That's completely lost on her. This is insane.
Yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is that what she's basically asking you to do is to commit espionage, man. And she's basically asking you to break a supply chain of the United States military, man. I mean, it's if you listen to her, just so you understand, this is not like a cute little TikTok video. You're engaging in a federal crime. You're breaking federal law. You may go to prison for a decade. You're basically engaging in warfare, literal warfare, to damage the American military to help a hostile Hamas terrorist group that's backed by Qatar, that's backed by Iran. Like I don't think there's a gray area. This is not like a content violation. It's not a content violation. It's a federal law.
This is so crazy. I don't know how you get people like this. It blows my mind how people can be this naive to what they are supporting.
I mean, it's not even activism at this point. They're literally giving you like right. They're giving you a play. They're talking about sabotage. The F-35 fighter jet program depends on something called just-in-time logistics, for those of you who don't know. Okay. So basically that means that every single part from every single supplier has to arrive on schedule. Okay. So there's no backup stock. It's very efficient, but it's also fragile. Right. So when these groups, terrorist supporting groups, openly talk about intervening in those supply chains, they're actually describing to you, how to cripple America's most advanced weapons program without even firing a shot. So think about that. That's not they're not protesting at that point. They're saying focus on U.S. national defense and under, I think and under federal law, essentially at that point, you are crossing the border there with sabotage, and knowledge is power. Yeah. But in the wrong hands, like her, it becomes a weapon. And
something that I think that, I wish these kinds of threats were taken more seriously. I wish that people really listened to what she was saying. I wish that people understood what she's calling for. And I think that was a big learning lesson for Israel. There was all the evidence on the wall for October 7th. How did October 7th happen? They told us their plans and we didn't listen. And so I think one of the biggest learning lessons was when they tell you their plans, when they tell you what they're going to do, they're openly talking about it. It's one, our duty as civilians to listen, but then two, we can't be reactionary as a government. What are our elected officials? What is the purpose of the federal government? It is to protect its citizens. It's for law and order and to protect our citizens from foreign and domestic threats. That is both a foreign and a domestic threat.
Yeah, I want to say a special, thank you to Anna Paulina Luna, because she actually reported this to the FBI. So this is just outrageous. They're using free speech against us. They're saying things like the Muslim Brotherhood. They're permitted to do things in Europe that they're just not permitted to do in the UAE or in other Arab countries in the Gulf. What they're getting away with at this point is they're using free speech against us. And what do you think about that? What do you think about how Qatar and the Chinese Communist Party, between their bot farms, invading our social media apps, creating fake American accounts, saying the most nastiest slander, defamation of our politicians, our media, our institutions, of our alliance with Israel, for example, in any shape, way, or form, they're engaging in psychological warfare and doing just about everything to create an atmosphere of division, polarization, and to break important foreign policy, foreign alliances. Now,
take it a step further, though, and involve elections. They're interfering in our elections. They're interfering in our healthcare. I mean, you can keep going with what they are, our education systems, with what they're involving themselves in. And we have weaknesses. They're weaponizing our freedoms against us. We have weaknesses as a culture and as a society. And unfortunately, they're exploiting them. Now it's whether or not we can learn and correct or not. And the left, they're getting in through leftist ideologies. The left will be the reason, if we cannot course correct, the left will be the reason this extreme tolerance for people who are not tolerant of us and tolerant of freedoms The average civilization is 350 years. Will we make it to what the average civilization is in history? I don't know. It's a question to ask.
So in regards to free speech, let's look at how they basically use our. So I just want to emphasize, it's one thing if you say, I hate blondes, I hate Jews, all right, I hate kikes. You say that, right? Okay, that's free speech. Okay, fine. I'm going to burn the American flag. I'm going to burn the Israel flag. Okay, fine. All right, let's say that's free speech. However, there's a whole nother thing when someone comes into the United States and their intention is literally to destroy the Constitution, democracy as a whole, erase everything you know about the United States, erase the idea of what you know as the United States, smash and destroy and deface all our buildings and statues, and suggest that at some point, if you do not comply to their viewpoint, you are murdered. And at some point, where do we say, okay, they are mobilizing to create a revolution and destroy the West from inside domestically, and we cannot deport them. They've outsmarted us in this respect. Now I'm about to play this on the limits of free speech. Now, this is just one take. We're about to. There's a bunch of these clips from this Palestinian terror conference. See what you think about this. Avery.
Look at this rooms, motherfuckers. We ain't going anywhere. Political structures that I have to work in, that we all are surrounded by, was built on slavery and genocide and rape and oppression. Real change doesn't come from the cowards and warmongers in Congress. It comes from the streets. It comes from all of us mobilizing and seizing the power to resist and fight back. Gaza is the compass in this country. Now we're in Congress and we're every corner of the United States. Look at this.
I believe her. I believe her. We all need to believe her. I'm dead serious. We need to believe her. This is what's going to happen. And I just think I study too much history and I understand trends. The human psychological trend, our experience on this earth is not unique. Our civilization is not necessarily, it actually is pretty unique, but as a whole, let's look at it. We are so divided and we're inviting that type of ideology into our country. What's going to happen is something horrible. We're going to have a huge, massive terror attack and it'll unite us, hopefully. But that's where we're headed. That's what's going to happen. And I hate saying it, but I do think that in a way it's almost going to be necessary. I don't know how else, we don't survive unless we get united on something.
Yeah. The thing is, but what do you think about how they've used free speech against us? What's this? How can, is there a solution? Is that just they got us? That's we cannot get a guy because the thing is, if you take away free speech, then we're not American, right? So they went so deep inside to say, okay, well, once we're American, we can say whatever we want. Right, hold on, I'm about to play another clip here, and it's I just so what do you see? What would you say to that?
I just don't understand how someone could look at that and that not terrify people. So yeah, she has the right, in my opinion, to say whatever she wants. Now, is that calling for the destruction of the West? I don't know. Is that terrorism? I don't know. I think it probably falls under her protection of the First Amendment, which is our most sacred, and it's what makes us us. But I am more concerned with people that listen and cheer and go, yeah, that's a good idea. I'm more concerned with how we got there as a society, because she might have the right to say that, but why are there people cheering for it in our country?
All right, so check this out.
We will not rest this go. We will not stop. We will not rest.
I mean, just notice all the American flags we see here.
Pops, what do you say?
You see a lot of American flags over. They got like legit.
I literally, I cannot even comprehend how people hate the West this much. The irony of them cheering and chanting for the destruction of the West in the West because the West allows for it, because they have the protection of the First Amendment, boggles my mind. Go to Iran and chant for the destruction of Iran and see what happens. That would be a good idea. That's a fun little school project for them.
I mean, at this point, let's talk about free speech. Okay, so at this point, let's say someone says, I am a part of ISIS and I want to bring 10,000 ISIS members in front of the FBI. And we're all going to go with assault rifles. And we all hate America. And we're going to burn the American flag. And we're going to attack, let's say, police officers. And are they allowed to technically say that? I mean, at what point do we just say no? And then this is how they get us. If you say, hey, you're going to get in trouble for saying that, then you're a Zionist. You were bought out by the Zionists. Yeah, you were bought.
I'm always a dirty Jew. I'm not even Jewish, and I'm always called the dirty Jew. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah, you're a secret Jew.
Yeah.
You're a crypto. You're a crypto Jew. This whole thing was fabricated and coordinated. You know,
Yeah.
So, this whole thing is a psyop. And Nick Fuentes, he's right. When I come at Nick Fuentes, I did a debate with him before. He's a bully. He tries to pick on women. There's a reason why you'll notice Nick Fuentes doesn't do any hard debates, because in a hard debate, it's like the sunshine. The sunshine comes and you see him for what he is. When he's very selective in where he goes, and when you're very selective in where you go, it's you're able to hide. And he can hide.
A lot of misinformation pushed out. And when he debates someone who's educated on the topic, he shuts down because he doesn't have the response because he's not well enough educated. So it's a lot of bullying via lies, which, to be honest, is quite consistent with the leftist playbook. So he's just taken a page out of the leftist playbook, which is how we ended up with such a large group of people hating the West in the West.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, go back to this fun American protest.
Our sisters, our family beyond the binary in Palestine are safe and free and receive justice. You can put pressure on every single one of your elected officials.
Wait, pause that. Did you see that? Did you see that it came out that Mom Donnie's mother has been being funded by Qatar? Like, you think that's a coincidence?
I mean, even Ilhan Omar went to Qatar and she got paid.
Yeah.
Right. She got paid. Or her trip was paid. Right. So like, there's a question I want to ask, anyone, we got 206 people so far joining us right now. And I want to ask all of you in the chat too, and for everyone who'll see this after, it's like, we have free speech in America, right? But it does have a limit when it crosses into threats, and you can criticize government policy. You can wave a flag, you hate America. But the moment you start saying you're going to arm thousands of ISIS fighters, you're going to burn a US flag and attack the police, at that point, you've gone beyond free speech. Okay. That's conspiracy. That's incitement. And, that's the trick extremists use, is when you call that out, they suddenly just smear you as a Zionist or a puppet or a secret Jew, as if exposing threats is part of a plot. So they're not actually looking for a debate. They're looking for disinformation. They're looking for agitation. This is psychological warfare. They're very sophisticated what they're doing, and there's millions of dollars getting spent. So someone like that homosexual Nick Fuentes, they thrive on that, right? They avoid actual debate. Like with me, he just kept hiding and going to my friend Catherine, who was actually running for political office and who actually attended Oxford, by the way. Oxford or Cambridge, I forgot which one. She was in England studying. She was on the show. And they hide behind these selective appearances, but then when they're exposed to these hard facts, like you said earlier, it's like the mask slips and people can see the coordination behind the so-called like this movement of disinformation. He's being backed by bot farms. I would imagine there's at least a $10,000 to $50,000 a week budget on bot farms supporting accounts. His content and propaganda is heavily astroturfed. They will harass, shame, and discredit you if you speak up. Mm-hmm. If anyone were to look at that valuetainment debate between Nick Fuentes and me, you look in the comment section, it looks like 2,000 people, okay, hated me. And no one liked me, but everyone liked him. It's as he talked about women not voting, not having the right to vote, to a woman that was basically going to a school like Cambridge or Oxford, who was actually a political candidate in a district in the United States. Okay. I do not think that 2,000 people agree with women not having the right to vote or go to college. I mean, I have a daughter. I definitely want my daughter to have an ability to vote and go to college if she wants to. Okay. So they're astroturfing it. And I think a lot of it's coming from the Middle East. I definitely think a lot of it's coming from the Middle East or Asia. Now that could include China, Pakistan, Russia, Iran. I don't know, but it's coming from somewhere. Because when he tried to do a march, when he tried to do a protest, I remember he barely had like 150 people. You would think someone like that can bring out 10, 15, 25, 30,000 people. And what he's doing is he's shaming people into complete compliance. And I want to say shout out to my favorite CFO. He was on The Office, Andy Buckley. Welcome to the chat, man. He says, this is great. Thanks. I just want to say, bro, you're king. You are a king, bro. I love The Office, man. All right. Sorry, man. Every time I just get excited when my favorite CFO comes in. All right, so just look at this. So just look at this.
Quickly on Nick Fuentes. One of my friends always says that it just comes down to him being an insecure man who hates women. And like, I don't disagree with her. She says it over and over again. And she's always like, it comes down to him just hating women and just not liking women. He attacks women all the time. He believes women shouldn't have the right to vote, to have the right to really an opinion, because he thinks that the way his mind works is superior. That doesn't have a majority of support. So when these bot accounts, like it's a mass manipulation of the public to get the public to think that that type of thinking has a mass majority of support. When you continually blame 15 million people for the problems of the world, when they're not the ones migrating into countries and calling for their destruction, and blowing up and randomly detonating in public spaces, you're an idiot. You have brain rot. You are so blinded by your hatred for Israel and your hatred for the Jewish people that you can't see clearly. And validating that via bot counts, it's happening, and people that don't see it need to wake up to it.
Yeah. So now we have my favorite guy here, Hassan Piker, the Turk American. And I want to explain something to people that are not familiar with the Middle East or have not been abroad as much. You know, the Turkish people in general, I love Turkish food. I've been to Turkey more than once. I love there's no disrespect to Turkish people. Okay. I just want to say is that they have a lot of animosity and bitterness towards Israel because Israel and Azerbaijan have a military and oil relationship. Okay. They have a very strategic relationship. And for those of you who are familiar, you know, Armenia and Azerbaijan have had a fight. Okay. And Israel has cutting edge tech innovation. You know, it's a tech powerhouse. Countries from all over the world want Israeli tech, and they helped arm Azerbaijan. Now, Azerbaijan basically went at it with the Armenians. And I just want to say I have love for the Armenians. My boxing coach is Armenian. One of my best friends is Armenian. It's no disrespect. Patrick David, who I like, he's a great guy. He's Armenian. There's no disrespect. You know, I'm just saying this. I understand that a lot of Armenians are upset with Israel. I get it. I just want to say to you that what the Turks did to you guys was so significant that to completely forget and just say, okay, I'm going to hate the Jews for what they did, but I'm going to overlook what the Muslims did to us. I don't think that that's necessarily fair. So when you see Hassan Piker, Anna Kasparian, and the Young Turks show, and they're just doing these disparaging, you know, slander, disinformation towards Israel, it's not necessarily honest. It's completely not intellectually honest. Yeah. Yes, that's that's actually my point. And you know, I find it rich for any Greek person or person from the Eastern Europe to take the Turkish side when they've massacred so many people. I mean, you talk to the people in Greece, you talk to the people in Cyprus, you talk to the people in that region, and now, unfortunately, what's going on is you're starting to see a Turkish empire getting formed. You know, people talk about Greater Israel or this new Israeli empire. We're not even, truly, when you think about it, there's also like a Turkish Ottoman empire getting formed right now. You know, it's sort of scary. Now, here we go to Hassan Piker, who is also a communist supporter of Mayor Mamdani in New York City, where I spent 15 years. I love New York. I'm in New York next week. And I just want to say, listen to what Hassan Piker has to say here. I'd love to see what you think, Avery.
Like change is not coming. And you feel like nihilism is kicking in. Remember, if you can't find it in your heart to see a better future, do it out of spite to continue this movement. Out of spite for every single person that you encounter, some of the worst people out there, the Michael Rappaports of the world, the Amy Schumers of the world, the Itamar Ben-Gvirs of the world, Satan Yahoo. Find that anger within your heart to continue. Spite is also a good enough motivator because those are the worst people out there and they want you to be silent. They want you to go away. They want you to feel discouraged. They want you to feel scared. So always remember, as long as you have the truth on your side, and we all do in this situation, in this genocide, as long as you continue pushing, the dam will inevitably break. And we are closer than ever before in arriving at that solution, in arriving at justice for the Palestinian population. I know it doesn't feel like it, but the reason why there's additional pressure from Western states, like the prescription of Palestine action in the UK.
So what do you think about that?
Believe him. I also want to know what is the final solution. I have a solution. I do. And it's not what Israel has been way too nice towards the Palestinians. They have tried negotiating with them way too long. You cannot negotiate with these people. They are not reliable people. We are treating them like they're an organized government, and they're not. They do not want to integrate into society. They want to be savages who blow themselves up in the name of jihad in hopes to take out a few Jews with them. It's pathetic. They have an average IQ of 67.9. That is their average IQ, according to a 2011 study done by England. These people, I don't understand why we are treating them, and I'm not saying the entire population, I'm saying the Hamas supporters.
We have to destroy the idea.
The Hamas supporters, there's no, like, send them to South Sudan. That's my solution. Whoever wants to integrate into Israel, integrate into Israel. It's going to be a little rocky, but integrate into Israel. It'll be a learning curve. Send the rest to South Sudan. Let them blow each other up. I'm dead serious.
So let's look at this nice friendly guy here. And by the way, to the person who said, if you Zionists or Israelis believe that they have the right, someone said in the comments, to kill kids. No, I don't think that. I don't like the idea of anyone killing kids. And I think it's very disgusting. And I think it's very disgusting and dishonest to say that we're not holding Hamas accountable for hiding behind children and hiding in schools and so forth. If that's what they're doing, I think it's disgusting. And I don't think Israeli men, because they're not cowards, they're not sissies, they don't hide behind women and children.
We have to destroy the idea of America in our heads, in our neighbors' heads, in our comrades' heads, in everybody's heads in this country. We have to work towards problematizing and getting away from the normalization of the violence of the military-industrial complex that is just baked into these supply chains. And we have to actually present an alternative that is appealing and meaningful to people. We have to destroy the idea of America in our heads.
So basically, he's literally saying, let's erase America.
Yeah. What do you think their final solution is? What do they want? What society is better than America? I want them to find us one. Name one. Or a Western country. You can argue, okay, people are going to be like, oh, the Netherlands has this, blah, 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 blah. Finland has this, blah, 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 whatever. Name a Western country. Name a country that's superior to a Western country. So what is your final solution? Jihad? What is your final solution? Living under Sharia law? That's what you envision for the future? It's pathetic. It's a dark, sad future for us.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. So let's look at this next guy. Nice, seems
there
like
are prisoners
friendly guy here
that existed in our communities before Mahmoud, and Mahmoud would be the first one to tell you that. And before Liqa, and Liqa would be the first one to tell you that. The HLF 5, the Holy Land Foundation 5.
Nice.
5 men who were stripped away from their families for the crime of feeding Palestinian children. Largely forgotten by our communities, their families have walked amongst us without being recognized. And for some reason, we accepted the status quo. That somehow it was okay for the men who operated the largest charity for Palestine to spend 2 decades in a cell away from us. 2 of them still remain. And what was taken from them can only be compensated by God himself.
I just want to say to everyone here that is not familiar with the Holy Land Foundation, the Department of Justice literally found that they did actually fund humanitarian programs. So to their credit, they actually did. And they were also very nice to secretly send millions of dollars to a Hamas-controlled Zakat committee. These are charitable fronts inside of Gaza and the West Bank. Okay. In addition to that, the Holy Land Foundation This is a fact. Anyone can fact check me all you want. Call me any name you want. I don't care. Fact check me. The Holy Land Foundation has had ties to the Muslim Brotherhood's Palestine Committee. Just so you know, I'm not the only one that says this. Not only Israelis, Iranians, Emiratis, let's say Saudis, Egyptians. I mean, you could talk about a variety of Arabs. Ban these people as they're allowed to do this in our country. So this Holy Land Foundation that has had ties to the Muslim Brotherhood's Palestine Committee in the United States of America was tasked while supporting Hamas politically and financially. That is a fact. This is a fact. So I just want everyone to know what's actually going on here within the wider Muslim Brotherhood network, and that millions are actually, going to Hamas.
But two of them still remain. Shukri Abu Bakr and Ghassan al-Ashi. Say their names. Shukri Abu Bakr and Ghassan al-Ashi. And yes, for the Zionists and the Islamophobes that are reporting on this, you can...
This guy says Islamophobe as he's talking about a charity front that gives money to killers, that rapes innocent women. These are the terrorist savages that hate and rape Westerners, including Israelis. Like, if you are on their side, you are woke right or woke left, you are a moron. You are a moron.
It literally is. I don't know if I should laugh or cry watching this. Like, just understanding and reading the Muslim Brotherhood and how their connections and then the connections to CARE are a whole nother rabbit hole to go down if anyone else wants to go down that. I mean, you don't have to listen to us. Go do your own research. They tell you. These people clearly state what their intentions are for the Western world. Listen to them. Listen, watch their videos. Watch the videos they proudly put out raping women, celebrating. Watch the videos. Watch their commentary of what they think about Western women and how we're dirty and there to be raped. Watch them. Listen to them. You don't have to take it from us. Read the Muslim Brotherhood. Read. Do your own research. They're calling for our destruction. They're calling to eradicate all of our freedoms as we know it. The Western world as we know it. The only reason he even has the freedom to say this stuff is because he's in the West. So the absolute irony. If he was in a Muslim country disagreeing with their leadership, he'd be killed.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's very much of a, point blank situation. They took donations from well-meaning people. I'll say that. There's probably well-meaning, despite the fact if they're woke left or not, liberal, woke, pagan or not. I actually think that they had good meaning. They want to help the Palestinian kids. And I think that that's commendable. I do. However, that money was rerouted to a Hamas-controlled committee inside of Gaza and the West Bank. And that is literally not humanitarian aid. You're literally financing terrorism like a useful idiot. And like, if that's not a useful idiot.
The Palestinian people, by the way. The Palestinian people are the ones who are suffering the most under Hamas.
Yeah. And there is, I studied law briefly at NYU. I didn't finish the class actually, but I took it. So, it's a little bit, I'm an armchair jurisprudence lawyer here. So, but under US law, that's material support for terrorism. Okay. I think it's 18 USC. And yeah, that, these people that he mentioned, I think were also convicted. So not for helping the poor, but for laundering millions of dollars to a terror group banned in England, the United States, and Europe. This has nothing to do with Islamophobe. This is counter-terror finance. And if you defend men that are funding these killers, you're not just a woke pagan. You're literally complicit. So just understand that.
Spell their names properly when you write your hit pieces.
Guy even says Say their name properly. This is sheer indoctrination, folks. Sheer indoctrination. He's training others on American soil. This guy probably could not say, he would probably get arrested like a dog inside of an Arab country like the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia. Good Arabs, good Muslims. I got friends in the UAE, you know. I'm about to go set up moving one of my businesses to the UAE, an Arab country. You got Christians, Jews, and Muslims.
Great
place,
actually, to do business. They're they're modernizing. They're actually the ones denouncing Hamas. They're saying the West is insane because they don't understand this way of thought. It's like back to what my friend said. The first rule as Westerner to understanding the Middle East, you will never understand the Middle East. If you can understand that, you can start to learn. Until you understand that, you will never understand or ever learn anything.
Yeah, and I would also say a lot of people don't know this, but however, a lot of the Muslims in Iran aren't extremists. They don't actually like the government. About 8 out of 10 Iranians.
I have thousands of DMs from Iranians. I have thousands of DMs from Iranians agreeing with me and just saying, thank you so much for speaking out. I wish I could use a voice to speak out. Please keep speaking out for us.
Yeah, I mean, the Iranians assimilate, you know, and that's a generalization.
Yeah.
You know, I assimilate. I married a German, but you know, it's a lot of Iranians assimilate. I think even in Germany, you know, Iranians come, a lot of them assimilate, a lot of them. It's not like some of the other countries where they come and you're having these massive issues like the Pakistani rape gangs, the crime that's coming out of the Syrian and the Afghani. It's not the same. It's just not the same. It's just not. All right, let's go back into this.
Why in the world did we allow for these men and their families to be abandoned by our communities? I can't talk about the past, but I can talk about the present. Ghassan al-Ashi's kids got married while he was put away and he didn't get to attend the wedding. And I remember sitting in that wedding with a recorded message from Ghassan.
I mean, poor him. I mean, he went to prison for helping finance terror, a terrorist group.
Yeah, and he couldn't attend the wedding if it ain't the consequences of his own actions.
Bro, you can't make this up, man. Yo, my favorite CFO from The Office, Andy Buckley, he's here. He says, yes, they're here to destroy. Those from Iran who've been through it know in the West it's incomprehensible to us in the West. But they don't think like us, not at all. AZ says free Palestine from Hamas. I think he's also an Iranian. You see what I'm saying? Like a lot of Iranians understand this. A lot of people that fled Lebanon understand this.
Yeah.
You know, they even like to make it where it's completely against all Muslims. I think a lot of Muslims are actually not at all extremists. But when you have 1.3 billion, 1.2 billion, and you have a tiny amount, like it only takes 1% of that to be extremist. Now all of a sudden you got like 100 million. You know, and that is vocal, loud, and if they're violent, it messes it up for all of them. So I can't blame the Europeans for saying, "Hey, we had enough." I can't blame the Europeans. I can't not blame them.
That was interrupted every 15 seconds with this call has been recorded from a federal prison, where his family had to maintain composure and strength and even force a smile because it's supposed to be an occasion of joy. Even your moments of joy become moments of sadness.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry that your friend who wanted to finance terrorist Hamas in a front charity group had your phone call and pillow talk recorded. I mean, give me a break, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we talking about?
But it's working. They're winning the propaganda war. But we are epically losing this propaganda war. People don't understand it. People look at that and go, wow, the West is really evil for not wanting terrorists. Wow, he's an innocent man that funded terrorism and the destruction of the West and, his ultimate goal would be to die a martyr via jihad. So
yeah, no. So I
reason with these people.
So I just want to say, look how friendly this this poster looks. I don't know about you, Avery, but this
just screams death to me.
Yeah.
I see destruction.
We got about 249 people here right now. I know it's a Tuesday night, 9:05 p.m. I don't know. Like, to me, this does not come off like a friendly protest at all. This is like a horror movie. This is like Friday. This is like I'm waiting for a horror movie here.
But it's by design. Like, this is all by design. This is all being funded. This all is organized. And we need to have more media attention following the coverage on this and following the money. Because that's not an accident.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like it's amazing who's financing all this stuff. You see what's going on with these countries that are financing.
We are calling for our national.
Okay, so we're about to get into another woke leftist pagan who is taking this this pill. All right. I mean, these guys are doing the work. These guys are doing the work.
March to end this genocide and for immediate sanctions. And for immediate sanctions on Israel. On September 26th, Netanyahu, war criminal in chief, is set to address the United Nations. He is set to speak to the world's nations, to be given a place inside of this forum and treated as a legitimate person, as the representative of a legitimate state. We know he's illegitimate. We will be there to show him that. We will mobilize tens of thousands of people from all across the country, from all across the world on September 26th, as he speaks to show that if the governments of the world will continue with empty talk and will not move to act, if the governments of the world will continue to give forum to genocidal monsters, to allow them on our streets, to use our subways in our cities, well then we, the people, will stand up. And so, brothers and sisters, I have to make an ask of you now. Will I see you in New York? Will I see you in New York? Will I see you in New York on September 26th? We will be there.
Such a wholesome American audience, by the way.
Yeah, incredible people. Who's their government? If they've been so civilized, if they have been a sovereign nation, why haven't they developed sovereignty in the past since they've been there for so long? Who is their government? Hamas? That's who you want to recognize? That's pathetic. That is a sorry excuse of. Did you see that France, Emmanuel Macron said that he wants to recognize Palestine as a sovereign nation? What a weak beta male. What a weak, pathetic excuse of a leader, of a man.
And what's crazy is I think, between wanting to recognize and reward Hamas with a Palestinian state, and then to critique us, their big brother, basically the United States, their big daddy in Europe. Let's just be honest. To say we don't want to take Palestinian passports.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like delusional that he thinks he can talk. I mean, the guy's confused, man. You know what I'm saying?
Really? I mean, he's look at his husband.
Yeah, I mean, also he took so much. They took so much money though, also from Qatar. I mean, they've took so much. France is sort of beholden. All right, so go back into this. But
quickly, I just want to address something. Someone talked about genocide in the chat. The only population ever being genocided that has increased since the genocide started. Allegedly, the population of Gaza is continually increasing. And if you want to talk about a genocide, let's talk about the fact that official reports came out saying that Hamas is stealing 90+% of their aid. Why is your government, you want to acknowledge a government that is stealing aid from its people? There's videos of it. You can watch it. I was just at the border. Not that anyone's going to believe that or care about that, but there are videos. Go look them up. Hamas is stealing their aid. Why do you want to legitimize a government that is harming its people, that is stealing its people's aid? Also, Israel is the only country in the world held to impossible standards, absolutely impossible standards. Was the US expected to send aid to Afghanistan when we were at war with them? Ever? Has any country ever been expected to feed the people that they're at war with, to feed the people calling for their death?
We are dealing with
No, it's crazy. But Israel does it because Israel values life, and Israel is doing everything in their power to prevent civilian deaths. The IDF has the lowest civilian to casualty rate of any other military. The IDF drops pamphlets warning the civilians that they're going to strike. Guess who else finds out that they're going to strike? Hamas. Now, how dumb do you have to be as a military to warn who you're hitting that you're going to hit? Why would you do that? Why would you do that if you're not trying to save civilians?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, and I just want to emphasize, because I know, the Nick Fuentes homosexual pedo group likes to just discredit me and the enemies, of, democracy, of freedom. The people who actually want terrorism and communism to win like to discredit everything. Maybe I say as I'm a Jew, I'm a Zionist, whatever you want to call me. I don't care. But the bottom line is this, is that my family fled Iran. Okay. On my mother's side, that's where I get my Jewish ancestry. On my father's side, they're not Jewish. They're Iranian. And my wife is Christian. We have we have a German Bible in our home. And I've seen what's going on in the Middle East, and I understand it more intimately than some people that act as if Iran's regime is so innocent when they torture, beat, kill, and rape women. So this notion that we are backing a terrorist group like Hamas against these Zionists, the Zionists what? That if you go to Israel, I ask you, you know what? I've never even spoken with Avery on
I'm not
a
even
video.
Jewish. I'm not Jewish. I have no connection to Judaism. None. I'm not in a relationship with someone that's Jewish. I have no family that's Jewish. I'm not very religious. I can just look at this objectively and go, there's good and there's evil working here. And that's so clear. And it's insane to me that people don't see that.
As a Anglo-Saxon Christian woman who visited Israel,
Mhm.
At what point did the Jews see you walking on the street and spit on you?
Oh, I had the best experience. They were so nice to me. They were so thankful that I was there. Thank you so much for coming to see this with your own two eyes. Thank you so much for being here. The only time that I felt unsafe and the only time that anybody had a bad experience in Israel was when we were in the Muslim quarters in Jerusalem. And guess what? In all the other quarters, don't worry, there are still Muslims there. So let's not go with what Candace Owens says. Oh my God, they're restricted to a quarter. They won't even let them out. That's not true. That's objectively not true.
Yeah, I want to say that, because my family is from Jerusalem. That's my family history is also from Jerusalem. Actually, I'm a Jerusalem boy. And if I walk around Jerusalem, to people that are not from Jerusalem, I look like a garden variety sand nigger, so like you can't tell if I'm an Arab or a Christian or, a Palestinian Christian, Armenian Christian, a Muslim or a Jew. Right. But the thing is that when I walk in those neighborhoods, I feel pretty safe, honestly, unless I start talking and then they realize maybe what I am. Yeah. However, if you look like Avery, if you look like an Anglo-Saxon,
it's a no-go.
Yeah, they're going to know you're not from there. Mm-hmm. And I don't wish this on Greta because I'm a father with a daughter myself. I don't wish this on her. However, I do want her to go into these Palestinian
I
neighborhoods.
do. I wish it. I'm going to be honest. I'm done. I'm fed up. I am going to be dead honest. I know that you're like, this is not the diplomatic answer. I'm so tired of this shit. Let her in. Let her in. It's what she wants. I'm so tired of protecting these people that are actively working against us. She is actively working against my freedom, so it's personal for me.
You know, I've, you know, I'm not gonna go into like a million details on this, but it's like, I know what it's like to be deep in an Arab country and to have an American passport and to have a Torah. And, you know, if they catch you there, you know, you're not going home. You know what I mean? You're not going home. And you think that police might help you. Maybe they won't. You're not going home.
If she wants to go be an activist, she can't do it there. They'll kill you. If you want to protest, you will die. Like, I don't understand what she doesn't understand about that.
I think
let her in.
I think that's it. I mean, I just remember, man. I remember when I was in Egypt with my father, because my father also wanted me to see the pyramids before he passed away, and the Shah of Iran's actually buried in Egypt. And, you know, when he fled Iran, and we went to see the Shah, the burial. My father had a dream of seeing a free Iran. You know, in fact, where he passed away, my father had a heart attack where he passed away. About 10 feet away was the flag of Iran, a free Iran. And that regime destroyed my family. They had a 19-year-old kid who trained maybe with the PLO in Palestine. My grandfather was a major general. He worked with the Shah in Mashhad, Iran. And they did an attempted assassination on my grandfather, several shots. My grandfather was Muslim. He married a Jewish woman, my grandmother. And yeah, you know, my grandfather had to flee Turkey. And the person who did the attempted assassination on my grandfather, he later was elected to something the equivalent of a mayor, but he was also murdered. So I guess he got what he had coming for him anyway. And then my grandfather came to the United States. This is during the Iran hostage situation, 1979. And, you know, he's basically getting called a sand nigger because he's dark too. He's darker than me. And he was a moderate Christian who married a Jewish woman. And he was actually pro-West. That's when Iran was a rich country. Then at that point, Iran becomes a terrorist country, basically, a bunch of terrorists, an Arab, basically like an Arab cult, you know, like an Arab cult is in the regime. You know, most Iranians do not accept that regime. Most Iranians, including the majority, which are Muslim, do not accept that regime. In fact, Christianity is getting bigger, and Zoroastrian, which is an ancient Aryan religion, faith is getting more popular in Iran because they want to cleanse themselves from the Arab rape culture and how they erased our language in Iran. Okay, so there's a big movement for that right now in Iran. There's a big movement, big movement. And I just want to say that to me, seeing freedom in Iran, and when I see what they did to the Iranian women, the way they murdered and killed and raped, it's very personal for me, you know, because I have a daughter. And I'm not someone that can be bought out, and I'm not someone that can be gaslit. I know the horror of this regime. You know, my grandfather almost lost his life. They destroyed and stole money from my family. You know, I'm all in on this. You know, and I believe in hand-to-hand combat training. I believe in firearms training. They come after me, I'm not going alone.
There's a difference between hearing this and living it and experiencing it. And also, I mean, seeing it. People just don't educate themselves. This isn't like a story, you guys. This is happening every day. You can look up the videos. You can watch this horror. And what people don't understand is there's 93 million people in Iran. And they love to say 10% support the regime. It's not 10%. And it's like extreme, crazy jihadist males that have been indoctrinated that support it. But your average, and then what people don't understand is, okay, how did 93 million people get controlled by an ideology like this, by 1% of the population? People need to start asking themselves that. and seeing that it's possible. And if it happened there, Iran was very free. Iran was very, very free in the 60s and 70s, 50s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah, a rich country. One of the richest
Very,
countries. Yeah, very rich country.
a great place for women. How did such a small percentage of the population end up controlling 1% of the people, or being controlled by 1%? And people don't understand this in the West. The entire, like, Islamophobia is not a real term because it is a culture designed to oppress. And when it's practiced in an extreme way, it oppresses you. Like, it's oppressive by nature. And we've seen it in Iran. We've seen it in Muslim majority countries. Why would we want it in the West? We need to learn from this. Why can't we look at this and go, we objectively have a better society. We have a freer society. I don't want that. I don't want that. And it's coming in through leftist ideologies.
Yeah, you know, you get it. You know, it's like, it's there's so many Christians that are people that are going towards Christianity. In the comment section, we have Salve. He talks about Zoroastrianism as one of the oldest religions. It's true. The Zoroastrian faith is basically do good, think good, and say good. You know, do these good things. And if you look at the religious minorities inside of Iran, like the Baha'i, the Zatosh, the Christians, yeah, maybe some of them are fine. But when you see these sorts of escalations in war, they go after these groups.
Yeah.
You know, and that's one way that they control what's going on in Iran. And I just want to say another thing that a lot of people may not know. We got over 400 people here. Thank you so much. I see over 400 viewers here. Thank you everyone for joining us. I know we've gone over an hour now. Thank you. And I just want to say that a lot of you may not know this, but I can almost guarantee you a lot of Muslims, okay, not the woke left, not the woke right in the United States. No, Muslims inside of Iran, Muslims inside of these Gulf Arab countries will look at me and say, okay, he supports Israel. However, they still would like what I'm suggesting, which is a free Iran, over what the woke left and the woke right are basically saying.
Mm-hmm.
They do not support terrorist Muslim Brotherhood or Hamas. They do not support
they've been the ones oppressed. So they understand it. People don't understand that is a huge number of people. 93 million people being controlled by an extreme jihadi Islamic regime is a huge number of people. And that alone should cause people to wake up and go, how is this possible?
I mean, it's so good that, like, I feel like lately in the past month, more and more people, I think because they're such psychopaths that they're going so hard on these Europeans that they're making it harder and harder for even the woke leftists to keep defending them when they keep raping the European. Like, you talk about some nasty, we're going to go into it, but I'll just do one more thing from this clip from this People's Conference for Palestine.
This one.
I mean,
we're in for it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd love to see what you think here.
The world system that facilitates genocide through the role of governments, corporations, media, institutions. A system manufactured by greedy corporations and billionaires. But comrades, we come from...
Comrade. You hear that dog whistle? Comrade. Kami. Literally a kami.
From a long legacy of people who have fought tooth and nail to take down these systems. People who have sacrificed their lives for this struggle. And we have a responsibility to keep fighting. And we fight not because we have hate in our hearts. We fight because we love life.
No, the absolute irony of that situation.
Good.
Hamas's motto is literally, one of their mottos is literally, we love death as much as the Jews love life. The Israelis chant, Israel high, Israel lives on, Israel will live on. It's about life. The West is about celebrating life. In a lot of these Muslim majority countries, these extreme jihadists, and what she is now a part of, believe that, and they'll tell you, like, don't take it from me, go watch the videos. They will tell you their biggest accomplishment, the one thing that they want to do in life, is die a martyr through jihad. That's what they strive for. That's what they've been brainwashed to believe since children. So how do you defend? There's such a stark light contrast between light and dark here. And how does she think she's on the light side? I mean, even just going back to the poster that you showed, there's nothing about life on that. Look at their flags. Look at their actions. Look at what they're calling. Look at what they're doing. It's all death. I mean, I study the Quran and the Hadiths. I'm obsessed. Like, I read it religious. I mean, I read them every day. It's very dark. It's a culture of death. Like, I don't understand how you could look at it. Well, the problem is a lot of these people haven't read the Quran and the Hadiths or read what these people are putting out.
I'll be very honest here. Like, I have Jewish friends, I have Muslim friends. I'm sure you do. And as I'm mixed. I'm like literally mixed, like a black-white man. I'm mixed. Yeah. And so for me, I never can disrespect for what in my own eyes. I can never say bad things about the Quran or Islam. I just cannot do it because my grandfathers are Muslims, and I cannot do it. I cannot do it. And I don't wish bad for these Muslim people. I don't wish it. And I know you don't. 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 And it's, I just feel like it's so bad that a handful of extremists, which actually can make up millions. Because
I was going to say, it's not a handful. We're talking on the low end, 200 million. And that's what I have a problem with. I wouldn't have a problem if they were peaceful. I wouldn't have a problem if they wanted to come into our countries and assimilate. It's the fact that they're actively working for our destruction. And then I'm sorry, but if they wanted more of a peaceful religion, the majority would stand up to the minority. And that's not really happening.
Yeah. So someone here, AZ, says, Iranian, I think he says, but you need to be impartial, Nima. I don't think they're all bad people. Yeah. I just want to say, for the record, I have a lot of Muslim friends. I would say when I'm in the street of New York, let's just say, like, my point guy is maybe Albanians, and they're Muslims.
My best friend in London, she grew up in Albania.
Albania is Albania is a Muslim country that harbored Jews and defended them from the Nazis. So I just, and in fact, some of the thoughts I get from my political foreign policy views come from a very good friend of mine in Abu Dhabi, who I went to college with, who's a Pakistani, and he's not a Zionist. And him and I actually argue. Those are in 20 years, our only arguments has been about foreign policy with Israel. He's not a Zionist. He's disgusted with it. And I'm disgusted with the Pakistani regime. And he knows that, but we still manage. I mean, I'm going to see him in a few weeks, but the thing is that, I just want to say, like, I want all you guys to know that I do not hate all Muslims. I just want to be very clear. My grandfathers were Muslim. My grandfather, who married a Jewish woman whose family was Cohen. Okay. His middle name was Muhammad. So, but he was pro-West. However, he was pro-West. Okay. He married a Jewish woman. He only had one wife. He was a respectful husband. He didn't steal. This is when Iran had a good relationship with Germany, with Israel, with the world, essentially, with the West. And I just want to emphasize that to not alienate all the millions of Iranian Muslims, because most of those Muslims inside of Iran are actually good people, and they hate and despise an Iranian regime that has spent maybe trillions of dollars, billions in literal cash, trillions in lost opportunity to give money to Arab terrorists abroad. Now in Iran, you do not have clean drinking water. You do not have good paying jobs, if you even have a job. And if you do have a job, it's not a good paying job for a lot of these guys. And they're looking at their leaders get very rich. So think about how our politicians like Elizabeth Warren and that Somali terrorist or whatever, supporting terrorist, Ilya. Yeah, so it's like that over there, maybe even worse, you know? So I just want to emphasize to a lot of people in the West, most of those Iranians, yeah, they're Muslims, but they're not like these extremist Hamas. In fact, they don't want to give money to Hamas. Most Iranians do not want to give money to any terrorist, Arab, or overseas. They do not want to do it. They hate the fact that Iran does that. Yeah.
I am very critical of Islam. I really study the religion. I really try to learn as much as I can. When I say Islam, I really am talking about but it is a large number, 200 to 500 million extremists. That being said, if I have a hard time because a majority of Muslims, there's a lot that they need to work out, that the Arab world needs to work out amongst themselves, and the Muslim world needs to work out amongst themselves, because they need to be denouncing actively this. They need to hold revolutions. They need to modernize. And there are a lot of Arab countries and Muslim majority countries that are modernizing. And I give credit where credit's due, and I applaud it. That being said, there are still it's open to critique. And that is my freedom in the West. And I get to look at this religion. And I think that if you're practicing it correctly, you have to practice it as an extremist. And so that is reading the Quran objectively, reading the Hadith objectively. It's calling for extremism. And so the majority that are practicing it peacefully in my opinion, are not practicing it correctly. Now, I, in the West, have the right to say that because I have free speech. They do not have the right to critique, and they don't have the right to fight with each other to let the best idea win. And that needs to be worked out in the Muslim community. It's not my place to work it out, but I can look at it and say, this is a problem.
Let me ask you, like, when you're in, where'd you go to, where in England were you going to school? What city?
I wasn't going to school in England. I went to UCLA. I graduated from UCLA. I'm from California, went to UCLA, and then I moved to England after I graduated.
Oh, okay. So then were you like in a city like London or?
I was in London and West Sussex.
West Sussex. Okay. I like to go to London. I like to go to Kensington, you know?
Yeah. I lived in West London in Zone 1. So, I mean, I lived right there.
For any of you guys that are in London, September 14th, I believe my friend Tommy Robinson has a protest. I definitely recommend you go. I would love to go back to London. I'll be honest. I'm a coward because I spoke at a Tommy Robinson event and I just don't trust the guy. I got a daughter. My daughter's
I'll
2.
never go back. I believe I'm on a terror watch list.
Yeah. I'm not trying to
very genuine when I say I believe I'm on a extreme right-wing terror watch list. No, I'm serious, because all of their guidelines, like if you critique, basically, if you believe this is per the Home Office, they released this in April. If you hold the belief and publicly say that Western countries are under attack from mass migration and or lack of assimilation, you are deemed an extreme right-wing terrorist. And I hold that belief and I talk about it publicly. And I have videos in England that have gone very, very viral because they can't speak out themselves. So months and months ago, before anyone was talking about this, I was a big voice. So there's no way I'm not on a watch list. There's just no way.
You know, it's interesting. It's interesting how many people that I find are like pretty big and vocal. Yet I feel like some of us are just starting to find each other. Like I know last year, I don't know if this happened to you, but last year, I was pretty much in like an Instagram prison, you know, like they pretty much.
I didn't post on Instagram. I posted on TikTok. So I only started posting in like December. of 2024. So I started posting on TikTok, and I grew on TikTok to like 100,000 followers in the first 3 months. And then
They
my
banned
account
you,
got
though.
banned. And then I did it again, and then my account got banned. And then I did it again, and then my account got banned. And so then I was like, screw this. I'm literally just going to do Instagram. And so I only started posting on Instagram like a week and a half ago, consistently.
Yeah, that's the. I'm about to play a clip. You know, it's interesting because on TikTok I had about 784,000 followers before they banned me in 2020.
That's insane.
I spoke up about the Chinese Communist Party.
Yeah,
and
well,
there was yeah, I mean, my wife will tell you, like, I wanted to get banned. I didn't care. Like at that point,
I don't care anymore. I just, it's a better app to film on, but that app does need to get sorted out. I mean, it's a disaster. Like, we cannot have foreign entities controlling our speech.
So it's interesting. You were talking about genocide earlier. Here we go. Bethlehem sees Christian population fall from 80% under Israeli rule to below 10% post 1995 Palestinian authority control.
Yep. I was just in the West Bank, and it's not a good place to be a Christian. I'll tell you that.
I mean, it's just crazy. It's just crazy how much, you know, they'll talk about one video of like an extreme cult in Israel that does very odd things. So let's think about if a country that has millions of people and you have like a cult of like 500, 1,000 that just do odd things like spit on people, right? So they'll make that seem worse than something like the Palestinian, the Christian population in Bethlehem dropping from 80% to under 10%, as if that's nothing. But hey, one little cult member in Israel does not represent even 1% of Israeli society. Doing a spit is worse than murder, essentially.
What I will say is I was very surprised when I was in Israel and talking to the Jewish population in Israel. They denounce this group of people like I've never seen anyone denounce. They're like, they don't represent us. We don't like them. We don't know what to do with them. A lot of them don't even believe in the state of Israel because they don't think that they should return to their holy land until the Messiah comes. And so they like denounce so honestly aggressively. Like, it's actually hilarious. I had no idea that they would be so vocal about not liking a subsect of their religion.
All right. So here's the thing. I want you guys all to now see a very nice girl. Sorry. I should have put it up here. Here we go. It's a very nice girl. We're about to all look at this next video. I hope you're sitting down. You may cringe. There's a cringe warning for what I'm about to play to you. If you love America, if you love democracy, if you love freedom, like I do, like Avery does, we love freedom, right? If you love freedom, you may cringe at what I'm about to. So I hope you're sitting down. You're not driving. We got over 500 people now, 503 viewers here. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, X. Thank you, Elon Musk, for having us. And not, suppressing the heck out of us like some of the other apps. And shout out Elon, shout out Elon for retweeting Avery here too. And I know we're just like, smaller influencers here. We're just learning how to do this compared to the big ones. And I just want to say it's fantastic that we're able to even do this, So cringe warning, you have been warned. If you love America, you love democracy, you love America, you love Europe, you love the West, get ready.
Buckle in.
Now, this might just look like an innocent college girl. Her name is Zara. She came to the United States of America on a student visa. So she's studying in the United States. and she's leading a crowd of Americans to chant, globalize the Intifada, before the crowd starts going at our police officers.
We are all Palestinians. We are all Palestinians. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Free Palestine.
I just want to reiterate, she is not an American. She's here on a student visa doing this.
We will not stop. We will not.
Thoughts, Avery?
If I went to England as like, I put myself in her shoes. I was a guest in England. I was a migrant. Everyone thinks that MAGA hates migration. I'm a Republican, so I hate immigration. I've been an immigrant. I've lived in another country. I adapted to their culture. I would never dream of hosting, calling through a microphone, calling for the destruction of a country that was hosting me. You have to have such trust in the freedoms of that country. You have to have such entitlement, and you have to be such an evil person. Evil. It's evil. That's not a useful idiot. The people chanting are probably useful idiots. That is an evil person.
Yeah, I mean, it's how is she not deported? Should someone that comes in on a student visa that's organizing something like this,
Yeah.
at what point, like, how do we allow
Trump's America? I mean, thank goodness we have some common sense back in the White House. This would be celebrated under Kamala's America. So under Biden's America. So, I mean, at least Trump is trying to get these people out. I mean, the left is trying to block and stop at every single which way and turn. And again, there's a free speech question, but that is not free speech. If you're here as a guest in our country, you cannot openly call for our destruction. That's terrorism. That is terrorism. That is an act of violence against our country.
I'm about to play another clip here. See what you think. Switch gears. See what you think here. This is an interesting one. And this, I actually think in this situation, the bots are not just going after the Palestine issue. They're going after a lot of issues. So here we go. About to play this.
Yeah, the bots are crazy.
Hold on. The what?
The bots are crazy.
The bots are crazy. Yeah, they're coming at us. All right. So hold on here.
Come here, you little jabbermouth bitch. I'm sorry for cussing. Nick Fuentes, okay. Rampage Jackson's son pummeled somebody in the ring. It was horrible. It looked terrible. It was bad. You talked all this.
His NBA player Kwame Brown calling out homosexual Nick Fuentes
about black folks and said nobody want to be around us. X, Y, and Z. Black people are the dangerous ones, and black people this, black people that. What are you going to say now, Nick Fuentes? This little coward shot an assault rifle into a window to some children. Where do you think that leveled up on the spectrum of one angry black kid that beat up a white guy that actually hit him first? No matter how you want to take it or not, he was struck first. Now, he don't have no discipline to calm himself, but that's one person that got struck first. These kids were worshiping in a school, worshiping the Lord, and some coward, confused little punk, stuck a rifle in the window and shot over 100 times at children. So, Nick Fuentes, it's time for you to stop all this stupid-ass race shit, because your race does stupid things, and you don't make it into an entire race thing every time your people do something. And this was kids getting shot. This man beat up one white person, although it was egregious. I want to see video after video talking about this the same way y'all talked about this one black kid beating up this one white guy who hit him with a can. Mr. Fuentes and all of you white guys that was on all these goddamn on channels trying to say black this and black that and making it a whole race for one person. Now, should we make it a whole race for one person? Because I'm feeling a little flu of white fatigue. Yeah, I'm feeling a white fatigue bug. Who the hell can be in society with somebody that will stick a rifle into a church with children? Yeah, I'm feeling white fatigue. So before y'all start disrespecting all of us because of a few of us, you might want to clean up around your own goddamn porch before you point the finger, because he's white and he shot at children.
Yeah, I want just before Avery, before you get it, I want to say shout out to Officer Tandem. I mean, he's a great guy, Officer Tandem, who's there looking at this clip, and I think he's a much better role model than the Somali, incel hero Myron Gaines, who basically will do like a Hitler salute, as the guy next to him says the N-word. He just has no shame. At least Officer Tandem has some self-respect. Avery, so what did you think about what he just said? NBA player Kwame Brown calling out Nick Fuentes.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. One, I don't think Nick believes the shit that he spews. I just don't believe he does.
Interesting you say that, because I'm about to play a clip by Nick Fuentes, but please go ahead.
I think he's a clickbaiter. Like, that's his whole brand. He's not taken seriously. If I want to know anything on policy, on politics, on foreign policy, on our geopolitical climate, on it, really anything, I'm not going to Nick Fuentes. But what he does do is engage, and he's an entertainer, and he understands that. So I think he just he spews a lot of shit, and he hopes that something sticks, and it has stuck. And so he's leaned into what's stuck, which is actually pretty terrifying, that what he's leaned into that's stuck is stuck, because it means that he has support for these ideas, which again is insane and should not be mainstreamed. But I just refuse to, there's no way he believes this. I don't know, there's just no way he believes it. I don't believe that he believes it.
Okay. All right, so now we're about to play a Nick Fuentes clip. It's almost like the racist or the bigots going after the bigots, folks. You're gonna enjoy this. 1 second.
And I was like, "Wow, huge turnout!" I said, "Wow."
All right.
So I saw the Thomas Sewell speech, and I was like, "Wow, huge turnout!" I said, "Wow, massive turnout, all Australian flags." I said, "You know what? Maybe I was wrong." Then I find out it was like a big anti-immigration protest made by other people, and they hijacked it. They jumped in front of the crowd, and in some cities they got away with it. In some cities they got booed off the stage, and people said, "Get these Nazis out of here." And it's like, oh, okay. So it just goes to show, if they just took the Australian flag, these assholes are out there, and I don't say that to be, mean, but they look like assholes. They're in black uniforms. They're violent. They're thugs. They're screaming. They're using profanity. They're doing swastikas, Heil Hitlers, and they stick out like a sore thumb. And so you have like tens of thousands of fucking normal people with their faces out, just normal, regular people that love Australia with Australian flags. And then you got these goofballs in black uniforms with the rest. And the normal people are saying, "Get the fuck out. What is this? The Nazi LARP? Get the fuck out of here." So I think it's just delusional and insane. And the move that Joel Davis gave up on was to be an Australian nationalist. Co-opt them. Don't be, and if you're going to do this thing on the outside, do it in a different way. You have really two options. You can co-opt the fringe or the far right, and you could show up at these things with an Australian flag and give an edgier flavor of the rhetoric, right? If that's not possible, you can stand just to their right and have the same look and the same presentation and say, "I'm the real nationalist. I'm the real nationalist," and hope that eventually, people demand that you be included. You get that credibility. You say, You attack them using their own standards and say, I'm actually I'm the real Australian nationalist because I'm further right on immigration than you are. I'm more patriotic. I'm more of the real deal than you. And eventually that's sort of what I'm doing in a sense. What you don't do is go and stand off on your own and wear something totally bizarre and weird and self-segregate and say, we're all going to wear all black because we hate everyone and we're all Nazis. We're all Nazis and fucking racists and fuck everyone.
Him saying that word, I cannot get over.
And be the bad.
What?
It's just him calling people Nazis when his whole platform is hating the Jews. Is perpetuating and repeating and rinsing and repeating hating the Jews, blaming the Jews for everything. And he's going to sit here and point the finger. Okay, I just find it so ironic.
Yeah, the thing about Nick is that he's getting promoted by the left liberal media. So when he trashes Israel, when he trashes Trump, when he trashes Republicans,
yeah.
The liberal, I used to look at Drudge Report quite a bit. I actually used to look at Drudge Report like it was actually something I liked to look at. I thought it was an amazing website. And the far leftists just completely have destroyed that website. You know, I don't go there as much. It's like I have to avoid cringing to find 2-3 good articles there now, you know, and I have to cringe. I have to go through cringing, you know, and the thing is that they support him. Like there's someone at Drudge Report that just keeps pumping Nick as if he's like this leader of the United States. And the reason they like him is because he's trashing Trump. He's trashing Israel. The woke leftists love that. So he's saying, I'm going to take in the woke leftists because they hate Israel. And there's no doubt about it in my mind.
Well, I mean, yeah, Candace is starting to do that too. I mean, Candace just went on this whole anti-Trump rant and basically said it's us versus them now. It's not left versus right. She went on this whole thing. She was like, I feel stupid for giving into this was a left versus right issue. It's not a left versus right. It's a us versus the elites, as if she's not one of the elites. As if she doesn't have a multi-$100 million net worth, as if her husband quite literally doesn't have a title, an elitist title from his country.
Yeah, give me a break, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Back to Nick here. See what you think.
Bad guy and say yeah, we are the bad guy. We're offending all the normal people. Good. We hate all of you. What is even the point of that? They go there and most people don't like them. All normal people look at them as odious and they're like, yeah, we showed them that everyone hates us the most. And you just alienate yourself from the people you're trying to win over. What's the goal? What's the end game? What's the pathway? So I think the Nazi LARP is the dumbest thing ever. Dumbest thing ever. Nationalism is the way forward. Nationalism as an idea, as a brand, because otherwise we're just forfeiting our country. The American flag is ours. That's our property. Okay, that's us. The Australian flag is theirs. That's theirs. The Irish flag, it's theirs. It belongs to nationalists. And what does it mean to be a nationalist? Well, that's up for interpretation. And that's where the battle can occur. We have the strongest case, I think, actually. So to sort of take yourself out of the game and say, oh, yeah, that's not good enough for us. We need to be like 1930s National Socialist Workers Party. What? I just don't know. I've heard the arguments. I think they're retarded. So
what do you think, Avery?
I think this is so hypocritical of what he has said and previously says, and what what I know of him, I didn't disagree with him.
To censor your.
I don't know. What do you think?
No, I think Nick is getting a little bit more savvy into bringing in the far leftists. You know, I think that there's no doubt about it that's where he's going. So, all right, guys. So this next one, shout out to all 605 of you here now. Numbers getting bigger. We're number 3 here on X, on the X app. So thank you everyone for supporting. Number 3 out of the streams going on right now, from what I see. All right. So here's a very smart Arab. He's from the UAE, I believe. Very nice man. And he's talking about.
A lot.
Are you familiar with him?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so he's talking about basically how one of the UK's grooming, gang ringleaders, Rauf, he raped 47 girls. Okay, some only 12 years old, and has received over 280,000 pounds, I think, of taxpayer money to dodge deportation. This is what he's saying. This is their idea of justice, and he talks about how they refuse to ban the Muslim Brotherhood in England. It seems like, which is a breeding ground for terrorist groups like ISIS, Al-Qaeda. And it's the same brotherhood whose allied army in Port Sudan burns churches, bombs hospitals in Al-Fashar, and starves civilians, while Turkey supplies drones to this Hamas of Africa. And they're fueling this Sudan civil war. So here's a very smart man, an Arab, a Muslim, speak.
Right to speak against them. And when they say, they use the terminology Islamophobia, it's just to stop you from criticizing the Islamist and the Muslim Brotherhoods or all form of radicalism. The fact that Islamic Relief, for instance, is registered as a charity here, but all the way in Saudi Arabia, in UAE and other countries is banned because of the investigation that showed that these charities sending money all the way to some terrorist groups in the Middle East.
Yes.
It tells you a lot. I think you have more extremists in UK than you have in the Middle East.
Really?
At this stage, absolutely. The things that some of the Islamists say in various mosques, and we have been seeing that online, the terminology they use, the analysis they make, the statements they actually make, they would not be able to say it all the way in Afghanistan, for example, or in Iraq.
So how has this been allowed to flourish in the UK? What's your analysis of
in the name of democracy? So the Muslim Brotherhood, they use the freedom of speech in a manner where they will be anti-Semite in the name of freedom of speech. I absolutely stand against that, because I think anti-Semitism is not an opinion; it's a crime, and a crime against humanity. And once you allow that,
by the way, I just want to say to everyone who has never seen my content or Avery's content. Avery's not a woke liberal, and I'm not an Iranian far-right nationalist regime guy, and this guy is not a terrorist. In fact, the 2 Middle Eastern guys on the stream are against the Muslim Brotherhood. I'm Jewish. He's Muslim. And we're both saying that our free speech is getting used against us in the West. And Avery is not a woke leftist. She's a patriotic American who is actually not only went to school in the United States, but she also has been abroad in England. Okay. So
3 years living in England. So I do know this firsthand.
Okay. So I just want you guys all to know, this is something about ideology. This is something about what's in your mind. We're not promoting racism here. We're not promoting a bigotry towards how someone was born. This is talking about, at least from what I understand, what we're talking about here is this, what you're thinking, your ideology. Okay. So now listen, this is an Arab Muslim from an Arab country, the United Arab Emirates, talking. Okay. Just want to emphasize.
He understands this situation better than almost everyone in the West.
Actually, probably, I would say it's safe that you could call him a Zionist. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to offend the guy. I would imagine he's a Zionist. He sounds pretty supportive.
He's great.
Yeah, he's a Muslim.
Yeah, he's great.
And he's an Arab.
On the 7th of October, for example, when it happened, the genocide against the Israelis, what I saw and what we witnessed is the fact that some Islamists all the way from here in Small Heath, in Al Amrak, in Birmingham, and other areas, we saw their voices. It was pro-Hamas.
Yes.
And Hamas, as a force which carried that genocide in Gaza and also in Israel, it's actually the armed forces of the Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood in my country, for example, UAE, where Muslim, where Arab, is banned, but however, it's not banned in the United Kingdom.
So it should be banned.
Absolutely.
What do you think there?
I mean, he's just dead on. It's insanity to have tolerance for a culture that does not tolerate us. Now, his culture, what he is talking about, he is coming from modern Muslim countries that are actually denouncing this kind of jihad, this kind of interpretation of Islam. But the West is opening their borders and letting them in. And they are raping women and children at disproportionately high rates. They are hurting our society. The number one name of people on benefits in Germany recently is Muhammad.
For example.
They're not contributing to society. He's just calling that out. He's looking at an objective truth and saying, this is the objective truth of the situation. We need to denounce this kind of stuff in the West. We need to have governments that protect us from this kind of extremism. Because again, what is the purpose of a government? What's the role of a government? Law and order, and to protect us from foreign and domestic threats. And instead, you have governments like the UK, governments like France, like Belgium, like Germany, that are blending foreign and domestic threats, and they're inviting the foreign threats to become domestic ones. And he can look at that and say, this is a big mistake. This is wrong. We should not be doing this in the West. But they're getting in through leftist ideologies.
All right. So now I want you guys all to see this. He's on Vice Grad with Stefan. Stefan's a friend of mine. I like him. I was actually with him in Israel just about 7 months back. Great guy. His family's from, I believe, England and South Africa and Poland. So the next clip we're about to see is essentially, why does England now have more extremists than the Middle East, more rapists than Pakistan, and yet its leaders are protecting these terrorist thugs while London drowns in homelessness and crime? Let's look.
You're allowing it to happen. You can put rules and regulation, deport those Islamists. Do not let them harm your children. Do not let them harm your society, your community. Do not let them be the people who wake up on the 8th of October, for example, and tell you to boycott Challah, attack a Jewish restaurant just for being a Jew. And they justify it and they allow it. Don't be. This is your country. This is your civilization. You cannot be Muslim more than me. You will not be more Arab than I. So why is it that I banned the Muslim Brotherhood and you haven't? Why is it the fact that Islamic Relief is banned in UAE and it's banned in Mecca, but is allowed in Paris and in London? So there is a lot of questions to be asked. You're allowing it to happen. You can put rules and regulation, deport those Islamists.
What do you think about
this
that?
is like this white savior complex of just absolute like suicidal empathy. It's so fascinating to me when you look at the statistics globally of white people make up 7% of the global population. Why do we need to save the globe? Why do we need to invite everyone in and say, and by the way, in doing that, you're acknowledging that we have a superior society. So you're saying that their lives are so bad in their countries, in Afghanistan, in Syria, in wherever they're coming from. Actually, it's not everywhere, but a lot of Muslim majority countries. By opening our borders to this, you are acknowledging, as a leftist, you're saying our way of life is better. You are saying we have a superior civilization to you, so we need to save you. And it's to our detriment. We are 7% of the population. Me, I'm white, you're not. I am 7% of the global population. I don't know where this idea comes from that Muslims in the Arab world is a minority. They're not a minority. There's almost 2 billion of them. There's 1.8 billion. Why? Well, Muslims actually. So I don't know what the Arab count is because that doesn't count Muslims, but whatever. Why do we treat them like, how did they get rebranded as a minority? It's the greatest rebrand of all time. I'm serious. When did this happen? Like, how are we losing the propaganda front and the propaganda war this epically to have people not be able to see this?
By the way, I'm Jewish. We're like, we're like a fraction of your 7%.
You're 0.02%. 0.02% of the global population. You're 15 million people.
They make it seem as if we're literally like this big giant. We're not. We're so not. We literally are not. America is the big upper arm on Israel. It is not Israel. Oh, do not believe that garbage. That is a straight psyop. We are not. It is not.
They've also, well, that's a whole nother rant I could go on, but I think that the Western world should look at the Jewish population and learn from them, because they have statistically always throughout history contributed to society at higher rates. Always. They've always been a net positive. They've never been a net negative to society. They make more, they have higher average incomes, they have lower poverty rates, they file the most patents of any other minority group in the world. Israel, Tel Aviv is the startup capital of the world. They are contributing to society. So we should be able to look at a minority group of people, 0.02% of the population, 15 million people. We should be able to look at them that are consistently punching above their weight, consistently contributing more to society, and learn from them instead of demonize them. And we haven't been able to do that. And it's fascinating. And it's rooted in when a minority group does better than the rest of the population, there is a jealousy there. And then you also have these apologists that feel bad for doing better than a majority of the population. For those listening, by the way, I'm not Jewish. I have no affiliation to Judaism. I have no relationship that's a Jewish man. I have no family members that are Jewish. I'm not very religious. I can objectively look at this situation and look at what's going on geopolitically and look at it from a non-objective or
impartial,
Thank you.
objective,
An impartial stance with no connection to really any of the groups here, except America. I love America. Big fan.
You know, Avery, it's interesting you say that because thank you. You said nice words about the community of people. You know, in Jewish history, there has been a period where the Jews were permitted to live in Europe, maybe a European country, because of the economic benefit that they provided that country. Not necessarily because they were liked, but because of the economic benefit that they were able to give. Now, within the Jewish community, there's this thought, like the fact that the Jewish people have always, for so long, been in exile. There's a sort of suffering that comes from that. There's a sort of like psychological distress that comes from that. And not depression, but like a certain sort of like pressure. And a lot of people in the face of that, maybe just take the persecution and they're victimized. However, within that period, there's some that are like pearls, and you get great genius in this state of suffering. Mm-hmm. Now, what makes Israel so unique now is that we actually have a home, and we don't need to. Yeah.
Quickly, on that note, one of my favorite sayings is necessity is the mother of invention. And there has been no group that has needed and had a necessity to survive more than the Jewish people. And what has come from that invention?
Yeah, I mean, to believe in Israel, you must believe. I think Ben Gurion said this, founder of Israel, pioneer. He was like, if you believe in Israel, you have to be a realist. I don't remember the exact quote, but it was like, if you believe in Israel, if you are in Israel, to be a realist, you must believe in miracles.
Yeah.
And when you think about all the countries that have attacked Israel with such a tiny population, the fact that it has survived, the fact that other countries want Israel's technology to protect themselves, like Germany, like the United States, like the Chinese Communist Party, who actually want Israeli tech. It's like a miracle. It's honestly like a miracle. It's one of those things where it's just like, even me and myself, like when we get hit, it feels like from all over the world, but then at the same point, it's like we got such great support from so many Christians, honestly, and so many Europeans and so many people in India and so many people in South Korea, Singapore, Brazil. I mean, there is also a lot of people that support. And I think that they understand that the terrorism that's attacking Israel is also going to attack them, and that Israel's on the front lines.
Start with the Saturday people, then they come for the Sunday people.
And I think you nailed it. I mean, do not let the extremists indoctrinate your children, your communities, or your future. Because if you look at what happened on October 7, the calls to boycott Jewish bakeries, the attacks on Jewish restaurants, simply for just existing as Jews, they're not just protesting, they're just straight up hating. And here's one question I have for all of you, 669 people, is why do countries like the UAE and Saudi Arabia ban the Muslim Brotherhood?
Denounce.
Denounce, yeah, completely. Yeah. While in London and Paris, to this man's point, they're given free reign. I mean, you're talking about a situation where if the Arab world itself knows the danger, why does Europe still allow it? And, if this is your country, your civilization, don't you want to protect it? Because if you don't, those others, they're going to decide it for you.
Well, it's back to I think that a lot of American Jews they're 70% liberal, and it's because when you outperform the rest of the population as a minority, you have a savior complex. Like, you apologize for it. You feel a need, you feel guilt. You feel a subconscious, deep guilt for it. And you do things that don't necessarily make sense. And I think that that's a lot of what's happened with Europe. And they've villainized the left and the media, and the mainstream media is evil, and have villainized our contributions to society, which is huge and way outperforms everyone else's society. What the Western world has brought to the world is incredible. It's advancements, it's freedom, it's the ability, it's our First Amendment right. It's the ability to sit here and have this conversation and to critique, and for me to have the freedom to do what I want as a woman. And they don't understand that that's a minority way of life. And so they have an inherent guilt. And so they need to go save everyone, which is insane. Because again, rebrand of the century, that these people are a minority.
Yeah, I mean, how do you think the woke leftists actually will look at something like this and say, yeah, you know what? That Arab Muslim, well, like, for example, they see this guy, right? Yeah, but like, for example, they see this guy, he's an Arab Muslim, okay? And he's saying ban Muslim Brotherhood. Like, do you think they look at him as a sellout? Do you think they say he doesn't understand the Middle East and the Hamas? What do you think the woke leftists say when they see him? Like, when there's no darkies in the room?
Reasoning. I don't think there's rationale with these people, and I don't think you can pretend that there are. I think that they are so blinded by their hatred of the West, by their hatred of America, and by their hatred of Israel, that they can't see anything objectively. They cannot listen to this man and say, oh, he's probably right. They are incapable of it. They've been brainwashed. Their hatred for the West trumps all logic, all reasoning.
Yeah. So, like, for example, like if Greta, right? If Greta were to see him talk like that, do you think Greta thinks that he's stupid and he doesn't understand what's going on?
Yeah, I think Greta's an idiot. Like, yeah, let her in. Oh my God, let her in. I have a birthday wish. It's not even my birthday anytime soon, but let Greta in. That's it. And send the camera crew with her. Send the camera crew with her. Please, let's talk about the whole thing.
Sorry, 1 second. I did a, sorry. Send the camera crew with her, you said?
Yeah, I said send a camera crew with her and document the whole thing. Let her in if that's her wish. I mean, I don't know. I think she's blinded by her hatred to the West. Like, she cannot, there's no reasoning with these people. So let them go experience it firsthand.
Yeah.
Just document it, please. Like, please. I would love, is she, I don't mean to be like offensive. Actually, I don't give a shit if I'm offensive. Is she gay? I mean, she looks it. Did you see her Lord Farquaad haircut? I want to know what the dating world is like for her in Gaza. Please. That's what I want. I want a reality TV show of Greta dating in Gaza. That's what I want. Give the people what they want. That's what she wants. Give it to her.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so let's play here, Greta.
Show me what the people looks like. Show me what power looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. Show me what the people look like. Show me what power looks like. One struggle, one fight, climate justice, human rights. One struggle, one fight, climate justice, human rights. Show me what the people looks like.
What do you think there? What do you think?
I actually, unpopular opinion, have a little bit of sympathy for Greta. Now, I fully hold her accountable now that she's an adult. She looks like a child in that. But this, screw your parents. I mean, this is brainwashing to the nth degree. This is like, she didn't have a childhood. She was told what to think by these lunatic leftist extreme parents that she has. And she doesn't have a childhood. So she has no thoughts of her own. She has no original thought and has no understanding of what she's doing. She has zero understanding, zero education on the other side, on the consequences of what she's doing. And so when I see that video of her, she's a child. When I see that picture of her, she's like 22. That's like recent. That's on her little way to Gaza. So I would love, so this version of Greta, I would love somebody pick this up. I want a gays for Gaza dating show of Greta in Gaza. Let's go. Like, that's what I want. Give the people what they want. There's no way that's straight. There's just no way. There's no way that haircut, I don't believe she's straight. So I want her to date in Gaza and see how it goes for her.
There's a girl actually that talks about England, and I guess she's Pakistani. Her name's Bushra Shah. Have you ever heard of her?
I've actually heard of her. I'm not familiar with her stuff though. Someone else has told me to go watch her and connect with her.
Oh, I mean, she's something special. I'm about to pull her up. She's something special. She basically will say the most craziest stuff, and basically it's like she legit thinks that Europe and England are, like Pakistan. Like it's you know, it's so surreal. Like, and she'll talk about it and she'll say the most vile, hateful stuff. And then she'll proudly talk about how, she basically can't get deported. So it's like she's intentionally, just saying the craziest things, knowing she can't get deported because I guess she was from there. And I wouldn't be surprised if she's also getting paid, from one of these groups. Now, like, I'll give you an example. Like, look right here.
I have the wrong girl.
So here's Elon Musk. Remigration is the only way.
Yeah, I agree with that. I second that.
Yeah, and then she says, back to Pretoria, South Africa for him then. I get what she's doing.
No, when you're contributing to society, like, this is the problem. If they came and were really, really grateful to the host country and wanted to assimilate and were waving the Union Jack and the St. George Cross, but they're not. They're burning them. They're waving the flag of terrorists. They're on benefits at higher rates. They're raping women and children at higher rates. They're committing crimes at higher rates, theft, robbery. They are a net negative to society. So when you have a group of people that are coming and calling for the destruction of a country, Get them the fuck out. Get them out. And you can't be nice about it. You have to be a little bit ruthless. You have to be a little bit harsh. It's going to offend some people. Put on some big girl pants and do it. And you know who's the biggest pussy in all of this is Keir Starmer. Absolutely screw him. Screw you. You are letting people come into this country knowing that they are going to harm your people. What are you there for as a government if it's not to protect its people? Screw you. No, like, and I mean that from the depths of my heart. Screw you. You are selling out women and children. He recently said that the greatest threat to England is Islamophobia. Screw you. Screw you for that. Like, it angers me. It's part of the I mean, it's the whole reason I started posting was because in my 3 years in England, I saw it get worse year over year over year. I felt less safe. I had bad experiences at the hands of illegal migrants. Screw you as a government when you know that you are selling out your women and children's safety so that you can virtue signal, so that you can get a payday. You are a piece of shit. And Keir Starmer is that.
So just to give you how she exactly antagonizes the British people. I can't wait to see this here.
I'm sure it's going to light me up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah, she's just so like she's definitely doing it to provoke, you know. All right, so here we go. Pull this up. Okay, here's Bushra, the patriot. You know, the patriot British girl. She says here they're talking about, I guess, raiding a home, and she says, "You're a loser, Steve. The likes of you are not winning shit. I'm a British-born citizen and cannot be deported. I'm here to stay."
Yeah, they always love to throw that back, huh? They love to weaponize. They love to say that.
Yeah, and I'm here to stay. Get used to it and crawl back under the rock you came out of. She's saying this to an actual guy that's from the country. Like,
the entitlement of that is just, it's so, but this is why it is almost irreversible what England is doing. You're giving citizenship and you can't revoke that. She's not wrong. She's not wrong. She is there to stay. And guess who's not assimilating? Like, she's not wrong. She's 100% correct, actually. So why aren't we looking at this and learning from it and going, we probably shouldn't, but let these people in our country. No, but you know what they do? Yesterday or today, the UK just announced that they are expediting visas for Gazans, for Gazan students. Guess who's paying for that? Fully sponsored by the taxpayer. The taxpayer that's almost non-existent now because the country's so freaking poor as a whole. And there's a millionaire exodus leaving since Starmer entered into office. There's a millionaire leaving that country every 45 minutes, and it's probably higher now. So with what money? They've spent times 5 the allocated budget. This is predictions. It's predicted times 5. It's probably going to be higher than this. They've spent a predicted times 5 the allocated budget for migration. Who's going to end up paying for these migrants? Because they're not contributing to society. So she's dead on when she says she's there to stay. But to what detriment of the future of the country? The future of the country, this is not sustainable. They can't hold it.
Like, even Germany's talking about they basically just don't have
the money.
So I know that you were in. I got 2 more clips. You got time for 2 more clips here before we?
Yeah, I've got time.
You and I going like, man, we're going late night here.
I have a lot to say. That's why I post my opinions on the internet.
You know what I mean? We're going late. All right, so here we go. Here is a fun clip. Can't wait to see what you think, because you've been in England, you lived in England, and tell me, what do you think? This is true or false?
I do not think I have seen such ignorance in my entire life than I have on X and various other platforms in the last couple of years regarding immigrants, asylum seekers, than I have right now.
Okay, pause it right here. Pause it right here. Really quick. So, okay. This is what, when people want to say that X, like it's a bias and you've never seen anything like it, but on X is the only platform that is representative of the common opinion. It is the only platform that fully allows for free speech. So it is the only one where you actually get the public's opinion, a non-biased public opinion. Continue. Let's see if we can even get through this.
Lee Anderson, some others as well, these bad faith actors, including Elon Musk, is now getting involved. And then you have people like JD Vance that want to chime in as well. And then other sort of, larger influencers that want to jump in onto the grift, onto the fake grift is what I'm going to call it. Number one, Ryland Clark. That's my first message. You do not get to say the misinformation that you do on a national broadcaster and spread your lies without any pushback. Shameful on you and ITV for allowing that to happen. Learn your facts, understand immigration, understand asylum seekers and what that process is and what the process is in our country, what that looks like, before you go and spread far right-wing talking propaganda points and pass it off as facts. I don't care how many other people might agree with you, but they're all ignorant people, like we're seeing in regards to the Bell Hotel. So the Home Office has won. It is won. Migrants are going to be allowed to stay at the Bell Hotel in Epping, asylum seekers. That is a win. That's absolutely brilliant. Do you know why? I don't care how many people cry about this, because you need to learn your facts. Asylum seekers are legal. It is legal to claim asylum in this country until your application is processed fully. There are no illegal routes to claim asylum in this country. So we expect Ryland to talk, right?
But I can't even get through it. Okay. She's not wrong. Anything?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, please say it to Americans and stuff, because I'm an hour. My home in Germany is about an hour from London, from Dusseldorf, and I go there quite a bit, but I don't know it as much as you. I spent maybe like 3 months in England. I don't know it as much as you do, and I'm not going to claim like I understand it. And what I do know, a lot of it is from Tommy Robbins. So please, you tell me, like, how do you interpret what she's saying? What's right? What's wrong?
Okay, so background, by the way, for anyone who's new here, I've spent the last 3 years living in England as an American. I am back in the States. I would never be able to speak like this in England because I would be arrested if I spoke the way that I speak. So, publicly. So, with that background, the thing that pisses me off the most about this is she's 100% correct. Like, that's the thing that really, really irks me. And she's only correct because of the current government, the Labour Party that's in control right now. So they're interpreting the laws, the UK laws. They don't have like our constitution. It's like common law, and it's kind of open to interpretation much more than ours is. So yes, the Home Office, who they voted for, who the country voted for, has interpreted these laws to be that. She's correct. It doesn't make it right, but it's also, Trump, we saw this with Trump versus Biden. The Biden administration prioritized a law that said we can prioritize asylum seekers. The Trump administration prioritized a different law. I don't know the laws off the top of my head. One of my friends does. And it's just what you're going to prioritize as a government. And so this is why I say who you vote for matters, what you vote for matters so much, because she's not wrong. She's 100% correct. And it's a shame and it's disgusting that the government is selling out its own people. She's not wrong. And that's like what pisses me off the most.
All right, go back.
Well-known TV personality, that your retraction, your correction, and your apology is going to be louder than your misinformation. And we are looking forward to that, because that certainly has to be done. I do not care with these TV personalities that have this influence and this responsibility to say correct information that do not get held to account. These asylum seekers, these migrants do not get iPads and gym memberships and
Yes,
mobile
they do.
phones and live in luxury. That's not what their life looks like. They have to wait until their asylum claims are processed. They are not allowed
That's not
to
true.
work, even if they want to. Maybe a charity might hand them an old second, third hand phone.
What do you think about
That's not
that?
true. That's not true. There's video after video after video showing, and under what they voted for, under the Labor government, asylum seekers are prioritized over their own citizens. They've literally said that. The Home Office has said that they are going to prioritize asylum seekers and migrants over citizens. Like that's an objective that you cannot argue. That you can disagree with whoever. You can't argue that that's what the government's prioritizing. They've said it. So yeah, under Starmer's UK, under his version of the UK, open borders, come on in, rape our women and children, let's have a two-tier justice system. They don't get sentenced, but if you speak out about it, you get sentenced, or a way harsher sentence, like times 2, times 3 the sentencing. And we'll pay for your stay. We'll pay for your stay. We'll give you hotels. We'll give you phones. We'll give you Xboxes. We'll give you food. We'll give you a stipend. All to go rape our women and children, to commit crimes at higher rates. Yeah, that's the Starmer government. That's what we voted for. No, but that's really important that people understand that. That's what they're prioritizing. They're openly saying it. So while she's correct that the government's prioritizing asylum seekers and that those laws where it's not illegal, they're still illegal. It's what the government you vote in chooses. It's what they choose to go after. It's what you're voting for. And Starmer is a fucking pussy. He's a bought out, paid for loser, beta loser. Have you ever seen a video of him punching?
No.
It's one of the fun. Please, if you can share your screen and show this.
Yeah.
Keir Starmer boxing to me shows everything that this man is and is not.
Starmer boxing. Try to find it here.
It'll show up. Trust me. He is, this person's right. He is a traitor. He is a government against its own people because he's bought and paid for. Like the talk about elite versus the citizens. He's not doing this because, oh, he's a good person. Oh, he just has empathy. No, he's selling out women and children's safety so that he can get rich. And it's disgusting. It's as disgusting as it gets. And it's a weaponization of the Western freedoms in the Western world. It's a weaponization of our freedoms against us. And if America doesn't wake up and learn from this, we are so royally screwed. At least we have an ocean separating us.
Okay, so let me ask you. So do you think that in a situation like this with her, what would you say to her here? If she was here right now, what would you say to her? Like we're in an elevator. What would you say?
Honestly, I would be disgusted. I would say, how dare you come into a country where you now have the freedom to use your voice like this and then call for its and advocate for its destruction? How dare you? Truly, how you are an evil, evil person, or you are a useful idiot. People like that, I don't think are useful idiots, though. I think that's evil.
Yeah, she knows what she's not. She's
exactly what she's doing.
Oh yeah,
and
she's not.
She doesn't even believe it. And the thing that bothers me is like these people are laughing at us. They're going, I cannot believe we can manipulate this group of people like this. No, it's embarrassing for us to be manipulated like this.
So here's your boy, leader of UK.
And just try and whack it. Yes.
Look at him punch.
That's it.
Who punches like that? I can throw a punch better than that. That is a beta man. That is not a leader. That is not a man that can take care or protect anything or anyone.
I mean, the British guys are tough too. You know, even the Irish. You know, Conor McGregor. I mean, come on, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, the Brits aren't so much. The British men are not so much. Starmer's just a beta, though. Starmer is he's a beta, and I cannot believe that he has been elected. But this is what the people voted for.
So, you know, all things considered here. So, what do you think is the solution to Europe?
Yeah, I thought a lot about this, of what's actually legal, what you can realistically do, what the ideal solution would be. Ideally, Elon Musk is 100% right, and it's remigration. Realistically, it's close borders, cut all benefits, do not make it a compatible place to live with their religion, which means banning face coverings, banning burqas. I go back and forth on whether or not to publicly ban like a call to prayer. I don't think that, I think that that violates free speech laws, but I also think it might be something that's like necessary. Ban Sharia law, which I don't really know how you would do that in the UK. You'd have to amend our constitution. You cannot really introduce a law like that in the UK. So I don't really know what that looks like. But if you got the right government in, you just have to make it a non-favorable place for their religion. That's what you have to do. And then you have to cut all benefits to all, like anyone not born in the country is not getting benefits. Tough love. Sorry. I mean, it's going to hurt. It's going to not be the greatest policy of all time, but it's necessary for now. And then, yeah, you need to close borders, and I would really try to kick people out. I don't know if you can do it. And I don't know, what's so scary is, I posted a video on this recently. There were 3 brothers. Elon Musk actually reposted this, not my video, but this story. There were 3 brothers, and they were found guilty of, I think it was 57 crimes against women and children. They had raped 30 underage girls. They raped 2 little boys in a mosque. And everyone was like, oh, and they're Pakistani men. And so the whole conversation around it was they're migrants, probably came over on a small boat. They were born in England. And they were raised in a Pakistani community. And multiple of the victims testified in court saying that they threatened the Pakistani community against them, the victims, if they spoke out. So while they were raping them, they said, if you tell anyone or if you go to the police about this, I will bring the whole Pakistani community against you. And so to me, that's a lot scarier than if they were migrants. Like that had come out, that they were born in the UK and they are not assimilating so much that they have created their own community that grooms and rapes little girls and little boys. And they threaten their community against the people of their country. What do you do with that? What do you do with that? So this is what I don't think people understand, the generational consequences of what they're doing in England right now, and how much, like when I say they're not assimilating, I mean they're not assimilating, they're forming their own communities. They're pushing for Sharia courts, for Sharia law. In Austria, they just granted a Sharia law case. I mean, and they're electing these people, these extremists, into government. So it will change. They will implement Sharia law. There's kind of no way around it because they're staying in their communities and they're not assimilating. And so this has generational consequences that people just have no understanding of. And a girl like her, yeah, she can easily say this in a free country. What about 1 generation from now? What about 2 generations from now? In Afghanistan, 70s, 60s, very free, much like Iran, very free for women, a prosperous society, wealthy, doing very well. It happened in one generation. It happens very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And people do not understand that. And so this girl, how dare she? How dare she enjoy our freedoms and weaponize them against us? How dare she advocate for my child, not that I have one, I would like one, my child's loss of freedom? It's a complete lack of understanding of the realities of the world. Afghanistan is the perfect example. Afghani women cannot even leave the house without a man. They can't be educated. They can't see doctors. There's no women gyms in Afghanistan. There's no women's spaces. They cannot speak in public. They cannot speak in public. Farm animals are treated better than them. It is horrifying what these women are going through. How dare you use the West's privilege of freedom and free speech to advocate for our destruction? How dare you? Like, it really, really, really upsets me. And how dare these politicians sell out?
Yeah, it's interesting. This, to your point, this lady here, she's a lawyer in the Netherlands, Eva, and she's very popular.
Yeah.
And she's about to talk about, that the clip we're about to see now, she talks about how it's not a right that you can migrate to Europe. And what's interesting is that the United Nations and these sort of organizations like the United Nations, they're run like, when you have all these Arab countries and you just have one tiny country like Israel, or you have one country like the United States, and you have all these countries that hate the West, and they're all voting in the United Nations, it's almost like it's rigged. So I don't actually see a reason why the United States or Israel, for example, should even just abolish the UN. Don't even host it. It's so hostile.
I'm a huge advocate. I talk about this a lot. I'm a huge advocate of the US leaving the UN.
Yeah, and they're basically just, the UN is flooded by these. We're about to look at this clip of this Dutch lawyer, but it's just like the UN is flooded with these Arab countries that hate the West. They're flooding Europe with people with a mindset that basically wants to destroy the West in every way possible. And that is like the most important thing for the United Nations, which is a scam, which is like not even a scam. It's a corrupt scam. And I don't know why United States or Israel is a part of it. And I hope they dissolve it. I hope they defund it. Let's listen. This lady actually says a nice thing. Now, I'm not Dutch, I'm not European, but I respect. I
like her a lot.
She's not an idiot.
I like her.
Civic nationalism doesn't work, not at this rate of immigration. We have to be realistic. Civic nationalism doesn't work, not at this rate of immigration. It doesn't mean that we can't have a small number of immigrants come to our country, immigrants who are well integrated, but not millions of people who come here with the sole aim of living a better life. Because living a better life for them doesn't mean living a better life for us. So having discussions, that focus solely on the concept of integration really bothers me at this point. We could have had those discussions.
And by the way, she didn't say anything racist like, hey, you know what? No darkies at all. She's just saying, if you're going to come to our country, why don't you add value? I mean, can you actually blame her?
It's so basic.
And work. Yeah, like if you look at the darky Indian, you look at the darky Iranian in the United States, you know how many of them had to have a master's degree or a PhD in engineering? They had to work as a doctor. They had to get some obscure degree that no one wanted to do because only the dorky guys get it. To even get inside the United States, to even get inside, you come to Germany, you see how many Iranians are highly educated in Germany. They did not, it was either that or fuck off. You do not come in Germany. There's a reason why Iranians are successful in Germany or England or France. It's because they took the Iranian. It's not that Iranians are inherently smarter. No, it's you don't have a master's degree or a PhD in some dorky subject. You're not coming in. You are not coming inside our country. So do I have a little bit of resentment that the Afghan or the Syrian or the North African Arab, they come to Europe and it's like, oh, you just come in because Oh, you just come in because you're a refugee. You're a refugee, and you're in Europe carrying the flag of your country. No, bro, you're not a refugee. You are an invader. You are an invader. You left your wife and kids at home. You went to their country, take their stuff, take your money out, go back to your own country, and then rape their women, treat them like whores because they're whores in your mind. They're Western European whores. They're not.
They say it. They say it. They say we're dirty. We're meant to be raped. That's what we're here for to them. They openly call it. Like, if this isn't war, I literally don't know what is. I mean, I'm serious. Like, if this isn't you're right. It's invasion. This isn't immigration. It's invasion. But we are now living with a government and governments in Europe that say that that is terrorism. For me to say that, for me to say that it is an invasion and not immigration, that is considered terrorism. Not these people coming in and committing crimes at higher rates, raping women and children, and quite literally invading our countries. They're smuggling weapons in. Patrick Christie's of GB News has fantastic coverage. He's literally one of my favorite reporters ever. He has incredible coverage of what these people send him and what he finds out about these migrants, asylum seekers. They're not fucking seeking asylum. They're not seeking asylum. They're smuggling weapons into the country. They're plotting a takeover and an invasion. They're raping women and children. They're committing crimes at higher rates. They're all on benefits. They're not working. Like, at what point do you look at this and go, oh my God, we're under attack? We're under attack. Like, I don't know what else to say. That it's true. But we're living with a government that says I'm not allowed to say we're under attack. I'm the problem for calling it out. I'm the problem for saying it.
Like here's this Dutch lawyer. She's basically just saying migration is not a right. You do not belong in Europe. We do not owe you anything. I respect her. Like I respect a Dutch, because you know what? How could I expect them to respect Israel or Iran if, like to say Iran first? I'm Iran first in the sense of removal of all Arab influence on Iran. Iran is not an Arab country. We do not need, Iranian regime should not give money, I believe this, and most Iranians do, to these Arab terrorists. We do not need to do that. America does not need to have these terrorist savages come into our country on student visas and then organize, burn American flags. The keynote speaker at that terrorist conference that we were just looking at earlier in the stream was like Mahmoud Khalil, the guy that comes in on the space. That was the keynote speaker. Okay. So when this Dutch lawyer here is talking about, not just letting everyone in, I mean, you could call her racist, but if we're being fair, you're in a rich country like the Netherlands, and I live an hour driving distance from the Netherlands. It's very close to Dusseldorf, and I'm in North Rhine-Westphalia, and my home's in Bochum. And I'm not there. I'm here in Miami most of the year, but I am there part of the year. And, to have this society of integration or whatever, diversity, whatever, it's not an endless debate because, when Iranians, for example, come to the United States, Israelis, South Koreans, Japanese, maybe, whatnot, Germans, they come into this country, they bring value, maybe in the sciences, engineering, advanced degrees. Okay. And that's one reason why they're thriving. They're working hard. Now, they're not coming under this banner necessarily of refugee. Okay. Thousands arrive, these refugees, thousands of them arrive on boats. They even say, we're going to keep bringing these boats. You're not going to stop us to Europe. And they arrive with no expectation. Correct me if I'm wrong. We have 835 here. Any of you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's a quiet group tonight. But these refugees come under the banner of refugee with zero expectation to contribute anything.
Nothing. They expect to be taken care of.
And then as if that's not enough to spit in the Europeans' face, they wave the flag of the countries
that they leave.
That they fled.
But the problem is we have a government that is supporting it. That is Tower Hamlets in London. I actually used to live in Tower Hamlets at one point. Tower Hamlets has raised the Pakistani flag. In Manchester and Birmingham, they lit up the library and like public buildings with the Pakistani flag to celebrate Pakistan Independence Day. What the fuck are you doing celebrating Pakistani Independence Day in the UK?
Do they even have? I would love to see the video where there are a lot of British and Pakistani flags, or was it just British or Pakistani?
No, it's just Pakistani flags. There was the ISIS flag, and then there was the Palestinian flag. That's what's being waved. There's videos of it, and the streets are packed full. And so that's what I mean when I say what scares me is those 3 men that committed those crimes against women and children, convicted of like 50 something crimes against them. Raped little boys in mosques, raped 30 plus little girls. They were born in England, but they were radicalized in these Pakistani communities, in these communities of these people that the UK is letting in, that are radicalizing people. Like there's a bunch of reports that have come out saying that Islamist gangs have taken over UK prisons and jails. Every single thing that I've read and found, there's no way that's not true. So people are now being radicalized in prisons. Have you seen who is the chair of the basically the board of education for the UK?
Oh yeah. It's Pakistani lady, right?
Let me show you this man. Let me show you. I have it recently. And it came out 11 years ago that the chief inspector to UK education, their UK education systems, it came out 11 years ago that they found that there was extreme initiative to like push Islamic extremism and radicalize our children in our schools. And that came out 11 years ago, so we can only see what direction that went in.
I mean, the thing is that when you,
Ofsted, that's what it is. The Ofsted, Office for Standards of Education in England. It's this man.
That's the guy that runs the English schools.
Yeah. I mean, you like it's not like we can, of course we can look at him and tell what ideology he's going to push. Of course we can, like, it's not racist to say that.
He's a patriotic sort of English lad that carries around the English flags.
Like there's
Tommy
just
Robinson
like,
supporter.
That's a joke. You know what else is a joke? A sick joke. This is the Home Office's migration team. I'm not kidding. That is the Home Office's migration team. That is who is in charge of immigration.
The thing is that Europe is like, it's not just this like geography, right? It's just not. It's a civilization. It's literally built on law. It's built on order. It's built on merit. And these refugees come to seek safety. And I'm okay with that. I'm just saying, as I'm not European, first of all, it's not in my place to even say what's okay with that. But these invaders are coming in and they're exploiting the opening to break the dam. Okay. Now, when these men abandon their families to cross these borders, then treat the European women as like a fruit of war. Right. Yeah. It's like the whore you have. For them, it's like the whore they have fun with. Yeah. That's not just
like they literally believe it's our fault because we don't cover up. In France, in France and I think a few other countries, there's Muslim women telling European women that if we don't want to get raped, we should cover our hair.
Yeah, it's not racist. It's not racist. You're not a bigot if you say, hey, that's not immigration. That's subversion.
Well, it's
That's
pattern recognition.
Pattern recognition. I mean, a true patriot will defend his civilization. And Europe, I think, is at a point where it has to decide.
It's under attack.
Yeah. Are you still proud enough to protect your European culture? Or are you going to surrender it, under the weight of this like false compassion as they come and they rape your daughters and they take over and they build their laws, they conquer you into complete submission. All right. So here's this Dutch lawyer. She loves her country. She loves her continent. I can't blame her. Good for her.
Before we decided, or let's say someone decided for us to open the borders and let in millions of people. Before we could have had that discussion. Right now, it is nothing but a means to stall true progress when it comes to undoing this whole situation and saving our civilization. So what do we do? Is it possible, third question, for us to start remigration? My answer to that is very simple. Yes. Where there is a will, there is a way. Don't be fooled. Our politicians are absolutely able to carry this out. They're simply unwilling right now. And so to hide their unwillingness, they hide behind international treaties. They hide behind human rights. But these treaties are not reflections of natural law. They are not an infallible source of moral superiority. In fact, those treaties were drafted less than a century ago, I believe, to genuinely make the entire concept of nation states redundant and to do away with Christian principles such as the sanctity of life, liberty, and property. What we have to do is we have to take back our own definitions, common sense definitions of what our rights as the native population of a continent are in line with natural law. Because your nation, your homeland is an extension of you and your family, and it's your duty to protect it. So forgive my French, but I really genuinely do not give a rat's ass what the UN says. Migration to the Western world is not a human right.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
So,
think?
yeah, my first impression of that actually is what Caroline Levitt just. So, I think that Caroline Levitt this week delivered the most powerful message from the Trump administration when she said that decline is a choice. Your leaders are lying to you. And that is so applicable here in what she just said. Your leaders are lying to you. They are selling you out. Decline is a choice. It is a choice that you are voting in that is coming in through leftist ideologies. They have the ability to fix this. And what I wish more people understood was it starts with the civilian. It starts with us. We hold our leaders accountable. We're the ones who hold them accountable. We're the ones who elect them. Without us, they're nothing. We can demand that this change. It's a choice.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I'm about to play that clip. Actually,
Don't have to live in constant fear. This is our
about to play that clip. That was a powerful one too, man.
To me, that was literally the most powerful thing out of the Trump administration to date, and it was so perfectly
message to Americans.
You see,
I'm sorry, you were saying?
I just was saying it's so perfectly timed with the National Guard in DC. But play it so people see it.
This is our message to Americans in Democrat-run cities nationwide. Decline is a choice. You don't have to live in constant fear of being robbed, raped, or murdered. Your leaders are lying to you, and they have been failing you for decades. The President Trump approach of upholding law and order by letting our brave men and women in blue actually do their jobs to aggressively fight crime works. In just a few weeks, President Trump has done more for DC residents than Democrats did in 50 years. And this can be replicated in other crime-ridden cities across the nation. As President Trump has said, all of these elected officials in charge have to do is pick up the phone
and ask for the president and the federal government's help. President Trump doesn't care if they are a Republican or a Democrat leader. He wants Americans to be safe and for every law-abiding American citizen across the country to be able to thrive in their city and in their community. This is,
I mean, you know, like
what a rock star.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
what an absolute rock star. She's fantastic. Like, we could not have a better representative of this administration. She's great.
yeah, I mean, if decline is a choice, like Caroline just put it here, then think about it. What are institutional, you know, safeguards that have we lost that once basically prevented leaders from lying so boldly to hide, you know, to their own citizens? I mean, look at Ilhan Omar making so much money. Now, is it a breakdown of the media as a watchdog? Because they're clearly not looking at her. They're clearly just completely ignoring her, giving her a pass. You know, you got the collapse of a civic education. Or is it just simply, you know, like a voter apathy that we have allowed this decline as a cultural norm?
I think it's just too much privilege. Yeah, we've allowed it because we don't understand. We have so much freedom and so much privilege in the West that it's the perfect saying of strong men create good times create weak men, men create hard times create strong men. Like, it's the cycle, and we're in the shit part of the cycle. Like, we are with a bunch of weak beta men that have never had to fight for anything, weak beta people that think our biggest problem is what bathroom transgenders should use, with no understanding of what the rest of the world is like. We have so much freedom in the West that, and it's such a privilege that no one remembers. Everyone forgets that it's a privilege. And so when you have a society that forgets what hardship is like and doesn't understand our enemy, because make no mistake, we have an enemy and it's very large and it's growing. Yeah. When you have a society that is not aware of that, you open up the gates to invasion, to conquest, to a really dark future, to be honest.
Yeah, I think you completely nailed it. I mean, in the West, we've had so much freedom, so much privilege that we've forgotten what it costs to keep it. And it's this like cycle.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's just this like cycle that is not new, of tough men, you know, create that good era. And like you're saying, to your point, and those good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times, and hard times create strong men again. So it's this cycle. And right now we're at the weakest part of the cycle, to your point. And we've got people that are so soft, they think that the greatest crisis of civilization is literally, which bathroom a 50-year-old man can use.
Yeah.
That maybe my
50-year-old.
Yeah, that maybe my daughter would use, which is disgusting. I mean, I rip a guy's face apart if I see a guy in my daughter's bathroom in like a public school. But the actual threats, and I think a lot of guys would, but you know, the serious threats here to our security, our sovereignty, our survival are just getting ignored. For example, the Chinese Communist Party, the Qatari influence, how they're hiding like weasels as they're financing horror and terror. And that's, you know, how they're buying out our universities. That's how decline actually works and happens. It's not from our enemies abroad first, but from what's going on inside domestically. When they engage in that sort of disinformation year after year after year without penalty or recourse, what's going on is that you're going to start seeing more and more Gen Z Americans, like someone in Mississippi, someone in Kentucky, with an American accent, American name, good old boy American. He's literally like third generation American. And he's just saying the talking points of, you know, someone you would say that is doing Soviet propaganda like 3 decades back. And then that was propaganda that the PLO would say or Hamas would say. For example, calling Israel occupation forces. I heard a girl from Mississippi say that, woke right. And I heard that on a video today. And I'm like, that's literally, you're literally at this point regurgitating the Soviet propaganda. And I'll tell you why that's dangerous on more than one front. Now, if I say something, they just say I'm a Zionist, I'm a Jew, and that's fine. Okay. Ha ha ha. They laugh at me. They write me off. And then 40 bot accounts from overseas attack me with just lie. 30 of them could just be straight lies. They overwhelm me. And the thing is that it's nice and cute. But the fact is that they actually are just using that girl. They hate that girl too, or they're going to rape her or whatever. They're going to conquer this country. She's going to have to submit otherwise to avoid that. But the thing is now here's why it's dangerous. When she's regurgitating that Hamas propaganda, what's scary is that 1 month later, when they are pushing out bot farms, the Chinese Communist Party, Iran, Qatar, whatever, they're actually able to blend in even better. They're able to flood our system even better. And it's even harder to distinguish what is American and what isn't American, because the average person is not going to go and have a passion for this sort of stuff, like you and I do. Like they're just not. There's someone that's just looking at it and they have no idea what's going on social media. And they have no idea that millions of dollars are getting invested in this astroturf, and it's not actually real.
Peer pressure. It's like online peer pressure that they see, and they think that, oh, well, all the comments say this, and the mass majority of people must believe this, so this is what I'll believe too. It's like people are sheep to be heard.
Yeah. So when someone says something like Israel occupation forces, and it's like, oh, wow, you're this truth teller. You're a patriot. You're based. You spoke up against the evil Zionists that are controlling the world. And controlling
0.02% of the population that contributes to society. It's crazy.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, as most of the billionaires on the 100 list are not even Jews, first of all. And none of those people complained. The richest man in the world is not a Jew. So like it's like, this is sort of like ridiculous. So I just want to say that when you literally are using their propaganda, their exact invention, their exact phrasing, jargon, at that point, you are literally doing their work and you're doing it for free. They're buying you cheap. They're buying you for a few clicks.
Yeah, they're quite literally the definition of useful idiots.
Quite literally. Now, I think a lot of them aren't going to need to get paid. I don't think they're going to need to get paid. Now, do I think someone like Candace Owens might get paid? Yeah, maybe directly, indirectly. She gets heavily boosted, right? Like did Theo Von get paid? I would imagine Theo Von got paid, yes, because he went to Qatar and he may be looking, they launder the money through like a comedy tour, right?
I think he has good intention. I think he's just along with the masses. Like he's just uneducated and misinformed, and it's a trendy thing to hate Israel. I mean, Charlie Kirk said that a majority of his questions on college campuses are about Israel. That's so depressing. We're losing this propaganda war. And by we, for the audience, again, I am not Jewish. I have no affiliation to Judaism. I am not dating a man who is Jewish. I have no family members who are Jewish. I'm not very religious. So when I say we, I mean, I just have looked at this and I so clearly see it for what it is. And it's, you guys are a majority of people are being manipulated by terrorists, by low IQ inbred terrorists. And it's actually quite embarrassing that we are allowing ourselves to be manipulated by terrorists. But we are losing the propaganda war so epically that, I don't know, I look at Theo Von and I'm just like, why wouldn't he believe that if that's what he's being told and that's what he believes? Like, we have to actually have an honest look at ourselves and what we're doing. And we cannot, anytime anyone criticizes Israel or criticizes Jewish people or has questions, we can't point the finger and go, you're an anti-Semite. And though it might be a little bit true, we can't do it. So we need to change the script. And I don't know who is in charge of Israel's communication, but damn, it's bad. I don't know. I don't know who's in charge of it, but oh, what a wreck. So we need to be able to look at ourselves and see what we're doing wrong as people who genuinely just care about good versus evil, who just care about the future of our civilization, care about people who celebrate life instead of people who celebrate death, and would like to see future generations also celebrate life.
I want to say, like, in the chat, who, you know, to this guy, Richard, I don't know if your name's actually Mustafa. I noticed that there's this like thing that guys like to do. I don't know. No, Avery, I'm about to tell you, like, these guys like to do something. It's very like, I don't know if they just don't know my content. They know my content. They just like to do it anyway to slander me. And I definitely have quite a bit of followers and supporters that are women. And they like to do this when I talk with women. Okay. This guy, Richard here, who's hiding like a coward, like a sissy, trolls another man. A man shows, definitely a beta. A man shows his face like a man, you know, not a coward, not like a sissy. So Richard here says, Nima, stop trying to impress Avery. She doesn't like non-whites, it seems. First of all, I would just like to say something to you. Number one, I'm married. My wife is in my bed right now. I have my daughter. I have hold on. I have my daughter nearby, and my mom's visiting. So I'm in Miami. I don't even know where Avery is. So this notion that I would engage in adultery, first of all, is offensive. I find it's highly disrespectful. I'd never promoted adultery. I don't believe in adultery. I don't engage in adultery. Okay, I'm faithful. I'm a faithful husband. And grow the fuck up. Just grow up. Like, it's the idea that I cannot have a conversation with a woman. The idea that she shut the fuck up and go in the office, or she's your whore, Mustafa. She's not. Maybe in your country, in Afghanistan, and Pakistan, wherever the heck you're from, that's acceptable. Okay. That's not what we do here in the United States. Okay. Mustafa, that's not what we do here in the United States. She's allowed to go to college. I want my daughter to go to school. I want my daughter to vote. I want my daughter to be a successful chancellor of Deutschland, Germany. She was born in Germany. Why not? Or a successful entrepreneur. She's a leader. The fact that I would cheat on my wife, the fact that I would cheat on my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, who took me in like a son, is highly disrespectful, highly offensive, and grow the fuck up. Now, the next comment here, and I have not hit on Avery once in this 3 hours.
God, no. And nor in any of our other interactions ever.
Yeah, like I've never in the DM been like, hey, what are you doing later tonight?
Never. Never anything inappropriate at all, remotely whatsoever.
Yeah, you know, so you know, it's not like, you know, I'm in general paranoid because I never know when my wife takes my phone, so I keep it clean anyway. You know what I mean? So man, the husbands understand me on that one. All right, so let's go in here. Tess Cater says Candace is absolutely a nutcase and nasty woman. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's a really big shame. I mean, she started off as a great voice for conservative women. And I don't know if she just lives in the rabbit hole. And so her version of reality just gets skewed. But I think it's a big, big shame, the direction that she's gone.
Salve here says, don't feed into the trolls, Nima. They're just trying to bait. Richard, aka Mustafa, says that she said she doesn't like immigrants. So I was just speculating.
I myself was an immigrant. So yeah, I don't know. Their favorite thing to do is just like, it's racism. I'm racist. They have like, what are all there? I'm xenophobic. I'm Islamophobic, which is a made up term and doesn't exist. They've got all the things, and they love to bring up it's beta men discrediting women because they can't stand and educated women. That being said, I believe that Richard has a micro penis and is an insecure beta loser male. So I don't really care what Richard has to say. So, Salve, I would agree to not feed into the Riches of the world, because who the fuck cares? Who cares? What a beta loser. Like, with a micro penis, I'm sure. This just probably needs to get laid. If he was getting laid, he wouldn't be here. Like,
Mustafa,
you know?
Mustafa is getting a little sensitive here. He says, "My name is Richard." Yeah, all right, bro. All right, bro. Your name is Richard. All right.
Yeah,
So
long
Tess Cater says Richard must be very insecure and has an inferiority complex.
Yeah, I mean, it's dead on. Dead on. I get criticism. Like, my DMs are the craziest DMs you've ever seen. It goes from, I'm so in love with you, will you marry me? Like, as if I don't have a choice, to, I hope you get raped and die. I'm like, okay, bet. There's a great variety in there. I'm so used to it. Like, I don't care what people, I mean, you just can't. If you do this, you can't care what anyone says. It's like, people are crazy. These people are mentally ill.
Air Dome, just a few comments here before we get off. Thank you, everyone. Over 900 people here. This has been amazing, actually, honestly. I was thinking we're going to do an hour, Avery. This, woo, man.
I know. It's been good, though. I've had an empty night, so it's nice.
Before Mustafa says, "Oh, look, Nima's hitting on Avery." Oh, Nima doing pillow talk. Yeah, just shut the fuck up, bro. I was just being polite. All right. Mustafa over here. All right. So Air Dome account. Avery, you see the truth. Once you see it, you can't look away. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Aria Robinson agreed. Appreciate you. And yeah, man. So yeah, it's pretty good here. Mamdani's wearing a wolf in sheep's clothing. Actually, it's interesting you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because next week I'm actually back in New York. Spent about 15 years in New York. I'm an LES boy, 211 East Broadway. You know, going back to my block, going back to New York, and I'm going to be definitely talking about Mamdani. I'll be back. I'm also going out to Brooklyn, Crown Heights. You know, see what's going on, and gonna do some interesting collabs out there, guys. So you know, keep you all posted. All right, so let's see what else here we got. Let's see if Mustafa, aka Richard from England, has any more comments. Here's Salve's going hard. Go read. Richard is pretty much a porno. All right, chill, man, chill. All right, expose Mamdani next, brother. Mustafa just got served. All right, guys. All right, so how could everyone, I think it's very important that we support each other and we distribute and share each other's content. You know, I've had a lot of bigger, creators that got in the game earlier than I did, have helped me, supported me. Actually, I benefit a lot from other people sharing my content, and I think Avery does too. And I think it's really important to pay it forward and just have good conversations with people that you think are interesting content. Don't get so focused on the follower count. Look at the merit. And I think that that's where social media is going, where it's not necessarily your follower count as it is the merit of that video. Did it engage you or not? That's why you're seeing a lot of creators that do not have millions of followers, like Avery and I, who are getting literally millions of views. I mean, literally today, Avery and I got millions of views, and neither of us even have 1 million followers. Right. So and that's possible now because the way social media is working is that it's just like judging us on merit. And it's not like 2024 where you had such suppression from the woke mob at Facebook. Now it's much more free, especially with Elon Musk.
He sways with the wind, man. Thank God Trump's in office, because Zuckerberg would, we only have free speech because he sways with the wind. As you know, he would, I don't believe we would have free speech if Kamala got elected.
One last comment here. I appreciate you, Nima and Avery. Keep doing the hard work and asking the tough questions. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Over 3 hours, 910 of you here, it looks like. And I just want to say, where can everyone find you? I definitely, and I'm not just saying this, even you go look at Elon Musk's Twitter page right now, you'll see Avery there. So he's literally sharing her content.
Reposted me. This is the 4th or 5th time he's reposted me. And I've only been doing this for a couple months.
Couple months, all right. And I don't think Elon has any relationship with Avery before someone says he's hitting on Avery. Maybe
No.
Mustafa over here, aka
I'm not a
Richard.
super baby mama.
Yeah, Mustafa is gonna say that now Elon's hitting on you. Nima, where is your superior Jewishness? Why are you bold? Your head is brighter than my future. Oh, Mustafa. You're a funny man, bro.
That's funny.
Yeah, Mustafa. Sav, I dropped the follow. I support the truth. Keep going, Avery and Nima. And last one, when you speak the truth to power, the followers will come. Okay, Avery, thank you very much, everyone. Where can everyone find you?
My X and Instagram, follow me there. I grew on TikTok originally, but my TikTok accounts keep going. So my Instagram is at avery.day with an E, D-A-Y-E, and my X, Avery Day.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you, Tess. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And please, if you like this stream, share it with a couple friends. Let's get the word out. And have a good evening.
Thanks. Bye.